Salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Joining us here today, sitting right here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, you know, this is the last week that For All Mankind is going to be airing, and I'm dreading it. Even though I've seen the last episode.
Series finishing, or is it just the last of the season?
It got renewed.
Okay, yeah,
but I mean, I'm
sad
sad because you know.
Why? You've already seen the whole series.
I know, but I mean, I watched it again. I've watched Sandman now twice all the way through, and I've watched For All Mankind multiple times, and I just...
Yeah, but we got Game of Thrones coming, Lord of the Rings, Andor, She-Hulk. A lot of good stuff coming. Sitting beside him, of course.
Speaking of good stuff coming.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I'm not touching that.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Tuesday.
By the way, I can't remember. Did we say what you're on? Were you about to be on?
Yes, I am playing the new chief of police on the
Nancy
CW
Drew?
series Nancy Drew.
Woo! Yes.
Thank you. It will be a mid-season replacement, which means one of you CW shows better watch out, because the second you get snipped, we're coming in for you. And Joey Bishop is, of course, here as the kids go back to school and we're counting down the days of summer. She has to wear her little bikini.
Do you carry a nightstick?
Rob.
Jeez. And sitting over here, ladies and gentlemen, joining you guys in the live chat, Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing?
Your intro is starting to sound like the Big Show song. Well, it's the Big Show.
But maybe that's what. I was gonna say maybe we should rename the show that, but I think Harloff already did that. There's something like that.
Take it back.
And of course, producing the show today, Jonathan Boyko. Jonathan, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. How's everybody else doing?
And it's good to have you guys here today joining us. Thank you so much for making the show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you want to get a live comment or question on the show, two things. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. When we do, that's your time to fire in your thoughts, opinions, theories, questions, whatever. Do so quickly, though, because we only leave the super chats open for a couple of minutes, and they do fill up pretty quick. All right, guys. With all that down, let's get into a couple of off the tops here, shall we? And our first off the top is this. You know, you can't really say Brad Pitt's ever had like a reconnaissance or something like that, because Brad Pitt has never gone anywhere. For like 30 years. He's always been just a constant in Hollywood. Of course, he's hit peaks, stuff like that, won an Academy Award recently, and he's got Bullet Train out right now. Well, when you've got the kind of career that Brad Pitt has, you work with a lot of people, you rub shoulders with a lot of people, maybe you start putting together, in my best Chris Jericho, a list. You start putting together a list, and apparently it's called the shit list. Now, Aaron Taylor Johnson was just, of course, working with Brad Pitt on Bullet Train. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, in talking with Brad Pitt, obviously they hung out a lot, had a good time on it. Aaron Taylor Johnson mentioned the fact that Brad Pitt has indeed a list, a shit list of people he will not work with. And this is what Aaron Taylor Johnson had to say about it. He said, he is in a new chapter of his life, I think. You work with many actors, and after a while, you start making notes. I'm definitely not working with this person ever again. Brad has this list too. He has his good list of the people he wants to work with and the shit list, which are people he will never work with. I'm assuming some of those people he's worked with before, maybe some people he's never worked with ever. Now, I saw some discussion surrounding this and saying, well, isn't that kind of prissy of Brad Pitt saying I won't work with certain people and whatever? It's like, no, man, come on. You watching this right now, you have people you will not work with. I have people that I will not work with. Ray, well, let's face it, Ray has very low standards. He's here, so I mean, whatever.
You're here.
But I mean, I don't think it's that unusual of a thing of somebody who's had a career as long as Brad Pitt has had to know, listen, I'm water and some people are oil, and I won't mix with everybody, so there are people I don't want to work with. Aaron, let me throw this over to you as the one working actor here in the room. Like, Does this sound all that unusual that actors will have lists of people they will and will not work with?
I don't have an Academy Award. I don't have a body of work of Brad Pitt. I don't have even half the number of credentials, the amount of fame that Brad Pitt has. And I, too, have a shit list. I think everybody does. Now, granted, there are certain people on said shit list that if they offered me a job, I would kind of have to go, all right, well, I guess I kind of need this. I need them more than they need me. There are definitely those people. Yes. One of the people on my shit list was recently in the news. No, it's not Ezra Miller, but everybody has those people that they work with, like you said, that you just can't stand. And it's not even just actors and actors. Like there's a certain producer that I worked with, quite intensely on a series, and I will never work with him again, not just because of the way that I saw him treat me, but the way that I saw him treat the entire cast and the crew. And I was saying this about, speaking of Nancy Drew, one of the things that I love about coming in and working on a show in the 4th or 5th season is that at that point, as far as the crew goes, they've weeded out all the bad eggs. First seasons, everybody's on their good game. Second season, the gloves come off. Everybody starts being themselves. And so they realize, oh, you're toxic. You're annoying. We're going to get rid of you. So by season 4, the crew is amazing. And when I went to Nancy Drew, everyone was absolutely lovely. But unfortunately, with the cast...
Just a quick question. What season did they kill off your character in Spartacus?
I left after...
Well, it was one of the earlier seasons, right?
It was season 1. Yeah, I wonder why I never keep...
Wow.
All the shows that I do... Oh, man.
Sorry.
Maybe I'm that toxic, annoying person. Probably.
They kept bringing you back.
Well, you keep bringing me back. What's up with that?
Sure, too, yeah.
I'm toxic and annoying here, and yet I continue to come here to annoy everyone. No, but the Nancy Drew cast, a lot of times, unfortunately, the cast, because they're on camera... You can't replace them, so you're a lot of times stuck. But even in that cast, they're just a remarkable group of people. And I found out that they realize some people just don't fit with our vibe, so you make changes. And I think that that's the way to a healthy work environment, is to know what your personal standards are, and expect that from the people around you. Tom Cruise has the same thing, from what I've heard, is he expects a certain standard for himself and for the people around him, and that is why he and the movies that he makes are continuously successful.
Rob, I mean, look, you've worked in the industry. I mean, it's probably, I'm assuming it's not just Brad Pitt people in front of the camera. I'm assuming it's also producers, directors, writers behind the camera, that you probably develop a list over time of like, I won't go there again.
Yes. I mean, we used to joke about it openly. We're like, you just made my list.
Yeah.
And I think that, look, sometimes it is people just don't gel. But sometimes people have personalities that you just want to punch them in the face, and you can't work like that. You can't, being with people that make you want to, some people's personalities are like fingers on a chalkboard. And I think one of the things about Hollywood, as you would say, is you have to like the people. I'm willing to sacrifice. I mean, I hate to say this, but if somebody's 80% talented and then someone's 100% talented, if the 100% talented person is you can't work with this person, I'll take the 80%
right.
person.
Why do you think I'm still around?
Because it is a social business. And when everybody's working, I keep going back to that Laurence Olivier quote when they were making Marathon Man, and Dustin Hoffman comes in and he hadn't slept for like 3 days, because he's a method actor. And Laurence Olivier said, Dustin, my dear, it's acting.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens like that. And it doesn't mean people are bad. Sometimes they just don't gel with you. They don't vibe, like you'd said. And it's better not to work with those people.
And then you see people that have great reputations, like a Tom Hanks,
Right.
or like a Sandra Bullock. The people that go, I mean, everyone says, man, I just love having this person around. When you think about the number of hours and the amount of time that are invested into being on set with someone, you got to make sure it's someone you like.
All right, guys, question is for you. Apparently, Brad Pitt has a list. Are you on it? Would you want to be on it? Whatever you guys think about that, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to another off the top here, and that is this. Now, of course, one of the big topics of discussion around the film fan community recently has been the fact that a Joker 2 is happening. Of course, just to recap, it was never meant to have a sequel. This was absolutely meant from its inception to be a one-shot movie. But then it made $1 billion. It got nominated for Best Picture, and the lead actor won the Academy Award for Best Lead Actor. That changes things. And of course, they've got it coming now. It's official. Lady Gaga's coming in as Harley Quinn. But this is interesting. One of the other characters that was in the first movie that, frankly, I wouldn't expect to see in Joker 2 is Zazie Beetz. And now, according to reports that are out there, Zazie Beetz is in discussions and is in talks to return for the Joker sequel. Now, I'll be honest with you. I love Zazie Beetz. I mean, she's been great in everything that I've seen her in. But once you figure out what the character actually is in the movie and what she is not, I have to admit, I'm sitting here wondering, why is this character back? Like, when you see how the character ends in the first movie, you're like, why? Now, I get it. Zazie's a big name, but I mean, what conceivable way is there for that character to be thrust back into Arthur's story and that kind of stuff? Now, again, I haven't read the script, but I also find it really weird too. When they got the script's done. Either her character's in it or not. What do you mean she's in talks to be in it at this point? She's either in the script or she's not. But at any rate, I find this a little bit odd. Rob, you're hearing Zazie Beetz in there. You know me. It's never a mistake to add talent. She's great talent. I just don't see how that character fits in. What do you think about this?
Well, I was thinking about this actually. I think because this is a musical.
Oh,
there's probably,
you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Or it has musical elements that there could be I mean, musicals are great at fantasy sequences. Mm-hmm. So maybe I could see him doing some kind of musical number with her. And she represents a part of his life that doesn't exist anymore. And maybe she's a recurring fantasy character that because
like the figment of his imagination.
Yes, because maybe
right.
he represented things that were good and pure in his life that he doesn't have anymore, or somebody that he aspired to one day getting back together with, or something, or just not getting back together with, but just having them in their lives. I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of what I thought with this. The fact that it's a musical, or that it has musical elements, I'm like, okay, I bet she becomes some kind of a fantasy character.
That's probably right on the money. Aaron, I think you went to go watch this movie with us. I know Tom was there. You were there too, were you not?
Tom doesn't go anywhere without me.
Okay, so there you go. So you were there with us when we watched it. I mean, you hear about Zazie Beetz coming back. Like, how does that equate with you?
Honestly, as much as you guys know I love to hear myself talk, every single thing that I was going to say, Rob just said it so eloquently and beautifully. There's nothing that I have to add to that. I think that she was wonderful in the first one. I'm excited to see what they do with her character, and I think that Rob is right on the money with his assessment of how she's going to be integrated.
Yeah, because that is another thing that everybody's been talking about, right? They're talking about this movie is going to be a musical, or at least have a lot of musical elements, and I mean, I guess that could be the way they figure that in as a part of his imagination. I have a feeling a lot of the musical elements are going to be part of that livid imagination.
I think so too.
Maybe that's the answer. Guys, the question is for you. They're saying that Zazie Beetz is in talks to come back to play her role from the original Joker. But what manifestation? The actual real person who lived in the building, the imaginary girlfriend, musical elements, all that kind of stuff. Whatever you guys think is going to happen here, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a second here and thank one of the sponsors of this video. I kid you not, the most comfortable and best sleep I have ever had in my life. Thanks to the folks at Helix. Guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Helix Sleep. Guys, let me tell you, just a couple of days ago, Ann and I received our Helix mattress, and it is the best mattress we have ever slept on in our entire lives. We had like this $3,000 specialized mattress that we got like 5-6 years ago, and we liked it very much, but this one completely outdoes it. It's night and day. And you can get matched with your perfect mattress too. See, Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just like a minute to complete, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for somebody else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way that you sleep. I hopped online, took the Helix quiz, and Anna and I were matched with the perfect mattress for us. And it is so easy to set up. Simply take it out of the box, get it positioned on your mattress, take off the plastic, and then give it an hour or two to breathe to reach its full size, and you will not believe how comfortable this thing is. All you got to do is go to helixsleep.com/Campea. Take their 60-second sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. And it's risk-free. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix even has financing options and flexible payment plans, so a great night's sleep is never far away. And here's the best part. Helix is offering up to $200 off of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Helix for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's do one more off the top here, shall we? And that is this. You guys probably know, whenever I go through my top 10 list of my all-time favorite movies, like everybody nods. It doesn't necessarily have to be a movie that's on their list, but, I'll mention, Shawshank Redemption. Oh, yeah, Shawshank. The Lord of the Rings films. Oh, yeah, Lord of the Rings films, whatever. The one film that I mention that makes people go, wait, what? Is the Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery classic, The Highlander. There can be only one. And yet there were many. And there's going to be more. Now, for the longest time, Ryan Reynolds, good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds, was set to star in a reboot of The Highlander. I mean, for years he was attached to that, and that never actually happened. Then came word a while ago that my boy, Henry Cavill, was going to be the new Highlander. And Chad Stahelski, of course, John Wick directing fame, was going to be directing it. And then everything kind of went silent. But recently sounds like, no. This Highlander film is still very much alive and well. Stahelski was being interviewed, and he talked about the fact that we are now actually just basically putting the fine tuning on the script. We've almost got it exactly to where we want it. We're still just putting the final pieces together, and then we've got it. Now, one of the interesting things here, though, that's come out in the most recent stories is that while Henry Cavill, his name's been attached to the film, he's not actually officially on board. He has not officially been signed on to play the role yet. But Stahelski continues to say in interviews, Henry Cavill's my guy. Like that's who I want. I only picture him in it. That's the guy I envision playing it. He is my number one on my list. I want Henry Cavill to play McLeod. And he would be awesome in this role. And I'm not just saying that because of how great he is in The Witcher and any similarities to a Witcher character. No. I was always thinking he would be great in this role long before that. So it sounds like this Highlander thing is moving forward. Rob, given the history of the Highlander franchise,
oh boy,
and there's been a lot of crap in it. There has been a lot of crap, and it's gone off the rails sometimes and all that kind of stuff. But here we are many, many, many years later, after all the talk about a reboot and all that kind of stuff. Now they're saying, no, this thing is still on track. Can you see a Highlander reboot directed by Chad Stahelski, starring a Henry Cavill? Could this be something that gets received well by the audience?
I think so. I mean, the elements are there, but I honestly, I'm kind of picturing this Ryan Reynolds version set in like Newfoundland, where Ryan Reynolds lives in a lighthouse or something, and it's not multiple time frames. Can you do, I don't know, man. I think it'd be really hard to watch a new Highlander movie and take it seriously, because the movies, I mean, the movie series got goofy. Then you have Adrian Paul's TV series,
which a lot of people liked. Adrian Paul's
was pretty
TV series,
good,
but it was a relatively small audience, but they still liked it.
But it was a pretty good show. I just think that, this movie, like you say, there's a reason you're not alone in this. This is an iconic film.
Love this movie.
And, you've got your Queen score. You've got Russell Mulcahy. He's way over the top transitions and directing. And it's like Flashdance. It's a total MTV, a product of that movie making style. And it's a product of the time it came out, but it's wildly entertaining.
And a heavy Scottish accent Spaniard.
Yeah, I mean,
Ramirez.
This whole movie is it's just so. I mean, and I don't know if you did this, if you played this straight, would it work? I mean, I could see it working. Great director.
First one worked,
but Henry Cavill has like gravitas. You would have to you'd have to play it pretty straight, and when you have Queen singing songs,
wants to live forever,
which is such a great song.
Perfect.
I mean, and you've got like the sword fight in the parking structure when the
quickening happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you could make it work, but I just don't know in this day and age if it would work, if it should work.
That's what they said about Top Gun.
I mean, that is that's what
You
I
know,
said about
it's
Top
been
Gun.
well. What's interesting? Didn't Highlander come out in 1986?
It may have the
I think
same
it-
time as
I
Top
think
Gun.
it-
But see, here's the interesting thing about the basic mythology is this, and this I think the original Highlander movie is the poster child for filmmakers
Yeah.
should not explain everything, because in the original Highlander, what you have is that you are introduced that these individuals discover through the centuries that there is a secret race of immortals, and you only find out if you're immortal when you die. That's when you find out if you were immortal or not. And through the centuries, immortals felt this invisible, unseen compulsion to be drawn to each other and fight. And the only way you can kill one of them is to behead them. And then something happens called the quickening, where you basically absorb their power and then you continue on through the world. And then at some point, you just know, they just all know, at some point in the future, something's going to happen called the gathering, where we will, all the immortals still in the world will feel a compulsion to gather into one place and fight until there's only one left, right? The reason this is the poster child for me is that once you then get into the Highlander 2, they start explaining, well, here's where the immortals come from, and this is how the things work. They were alien criminals from an alien planet, and their
Nice.
punishment for being bad is to have immortality and to live. Like, it was just so dumb, and that took away. Not every movie should explain everything. You should remain some things about it in mystery. Anyway, I could go on about Highlander all day.
You could still get Clancy Brown to come back and play the Kurgan.
Oh, but no, Clancy should be Ramirez. If a heavy scar Sean Connery can be Ramirez,
He's
then
Bane.
you can have Clancy Brown be Ramirez now instead of the Kurgan. I don't know. Aaron, I don't even know if you've ever seen the original Highlander, but
No.
like Henry Cavill and something like this, what do you make of it?
Well, I will say this. Speaking of Adrian Paul, I actually worked with Adrian
You
Paul.
did?
He played my husband on the recent SWAT episode that I did.
I didn't know he was in that episode with you.
Yes, and so we were both in jail. He had hijacked an airplane, and I was in prison, and they were trying to get me to turn on him. And then eventually, spoiler alert, I do.
Did you know he was immortal?
Well, here's what was funny is that when Tom, the day before I went to work, looked at the call sheet, and he goes, Adrian Paul, oh my God. Oh my, he started like foaming at the mouth because Tom is a huge Highlander fan of the series. You said it
Right.
was the small but mighty audience. That was basically Tom. He was the king of the small but mighty. Sorry, nope, that didn't come out right. Didn't come out
Wow.
right, and it's not correct. Anyway, he was very excited. And working with Adrian Paul, he was wonderful and lovely. So I'm just going to go out here and say, I think that Adrian Paul would play an excellent father to Henry Cavill as the Highlander, and I think it would be a great throwback and connection to the series. But talking about, the 1986 version and how it translates, one could say the same thing about the 1973 version of Westworld, the movie, and how that translated into the television show. The movie was terrible, but then you translated.
Whoa, back right up, sister.
Okay. I'm about to have to put on my gloves.
Sound like you turned into Hulk Hogan.
Do you know who wrote and
Sister.
directed that movie?
I know that you do.
Michael Crichton, the man who wrote
He
Jurassic Park.
directed that?
Yes,
I did not know
He directed
that.
it and he created ER.
Okay.
And wrote Jurassic Park.
And would you say that Westworld, the movie, was a great film?
I would say it's a very good B science fiction film. Yes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is I don't think that anyone watching the 73 version of Westworld would have been able to reimagine it the way that it came out
No.
as the series, except for the creators of the series. So similarly, yes, in 1986, people were doing a lot of blow. Just a lot of blow. Everybody was on cocaine in the 80s. Everybody was. I was like 9 and I was on blow. I'm kidding, I wasn't. But, at the time, movies just had a certain 80s flair to them because of the cocaine that I think that now in a non-coked out world, it could be reimagined in a way with Henry Cavill and the gravitas that he brings. And I'm actually really excited to see this with Henry Cavill playing McLeod and, of course, Adrian Paul playing his father.
Who would
That's
only be in the
actually-
movie for like 5 minutes. of
Doesn't
course, but
matter.
Yeah.
Give
That's
my boy,
a pretty
give my boy a
astute.
John.
I got to give it up because that was an astute observation. The Westworld example is a pretty good example. If they could do that, it could work.
All right, guys. Question is for you. How do you feel about this? Look, I'm sure I'm not one of the majority, like the super excited for the Highlander return, but how do you feel about it? Would you be excited for the Highlander coming back with Henry Cavill, maybe without? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with our main topics. See, whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It is absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Aaron, what is our first main topic today?
Our first main topic comes to us from Kylo Ken. John, I don't know if I've just missed it, but tonight I glanced at Twitter and the official Sonic the Movie account has announced a date for Sonic the Movie 3. Christmas 2024. It can't come soon enough. And I am Jewish, LOL. I was not prepared for how happy this made me. I don't know if you were expecting another Sonic sequel or not, but how excited are you now that it's been announced? Can't wait to see your thoughts on the greatest video film game franchise of all time. As always, bring on the filthy.
Yeah, claiming the title of the greatest video game movie franchise of all time is kind of like claiming to be, you know, the best Jamaican bobsled team of all time. It's not a lot of competition. Not a lot of competition there. But look, I was very skeptical about the first Sonic movie. And then I saw it, I thought it was delightful. I quite enjoyed it. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times. Some really, really sweet moments, some really funny moments. I don't think it was a great movie, but I quite enjoyed it. And then the sequel came out, and I liked it almost as much. I didn't quite think the second one was as good as the first, but I walked out, smile on my face. Knuckles ended up being a more delightful character than I anticipated he would be. I have heard of ice cream. I'm like, okay, what is not to love about Idris Elba doing this voice? So I enjoyed that too. No doubt there was going to be a third. So that's great. A little bit sooner than I thought. Christmas 2024, like a year and a half from now, that's going to come out. Okay, sure, that's fine. So I'll look forward to it. But then the question comes about the fact that it's going to be released on the same day as Avatar 3, I should say, as Avatar 3. This comes to us from the folks at Deadline who write the following. Paramount Pictures has unveiled a release date for its third Sonic the Hedgehog film, at the same time pushing back the date for the Untitled Smurfs animated musical, of which none of us care. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 will open wide on December 20th, 2024, with the newest Smurf pick going wide on February 14th, 2025, having previously been set upon the set to unspool on the date now claimed by the Sonic film. While Sonic will open against James Cameron's Avatar 3, it's not yet clear what kind of box office competition the new Smurfs pick has in store, and again, nobody cares. So, let's talk about Sonic here for a second. Now, look, I will admit, when I looked at this date and saw that they were going to open up Sonic 3 against Avatar 3, I thought, well, that's a little pinch of stupid. That isn't wise. But I think I've backtracked on that a bit, because what we've seen a lot of in the last number of years is that, well, for the longest time, the Christmas holidays is the number one movie-going period of time all year. More people go to the movies in that week or two than any other week or two in the rest of the year. And while the competition is stiff, everybody's going to the movies, and people are going to see more than one movie. And honestly, the more I thought about it, it's like, you know what? A family-friendly film like a Sonic. I mean, Avatar is going to be pretty family-friendly too, but a different kind. A family-friendly film like Sonic, I think it's going to find its audience. I think a lot of people are going to go see both those movies. And I think we're going to get something else on that season 2 that's going to be big. And I think everybody will be fine. I think there's a lot of pie to go around. I don't think anybody's going without dessert. I think there's going to be, Aaron, enough regular glazed Krispy Kreme donuts in the box.
There better be.
For everybody. A little bit of pre-show drama.
Unless the boss ate the last one.
So I'm just an analogy. I think there's going to be plenty to go around. And you know what? From my initial thought of, well, that's a kind of dumb move, to like, you know what? Sonic at Christmas? I take it back. I actually think it's a pretty bright move, and I think it's going to do well for them. Rob, what do you think about it?
Well, because Sonic's blue and the Na'vi are blue, maybe they'll just get people that don't realize what movies they're going into.
No, but over under 80% that Sonic 3's trailers will have direct reference to Avatar.
I think over 80%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's going to make some comment. But no, I mean, like you just pointed out, the Christmas movie-going season is the season for families. So I think that, and Sonic being an established franchise like Avatar is, I don't think, and other than the fact their protagonists are blue people or blue creatures, I don't think that they cannibalize the audience, each other's audience. I think that, like you pointed out, Christmas is always a great season. Remember it was a couple years back, like 3 or 4 years back, John, we called it the Murderer's Row of Christmas. Like there was like 6 movies coming out. And we're all like, oh my God, some of them moved. But Christmas, movies do well. And I think family movies do well, so why not? And people love the Sonic franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They love this franchise. And I have to say, like, against my better judgment, this is not something that even I'd be like, this isn't up my alley. I enjoyed both films. I mean, as a diversion, I like watching them. And I think that this is a perfect time to release the movie.
Now, by the way, just going to throw this out there. Like, I can't remember what the first one made, but I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 made $400 million.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty good. Anyway, Aaron, you hear about this. They're going to release Sonic 3 on the Christmas season, same time as Avatar 3. I mean, look, so I hate to, like, I can already hear something. Well, Sonic's going to beat Avatar. No, it's not. Like, it's not even going to come close. But I think it can make its money on that date, even with Avatar there. What do you think?
Well, at the end of the day, yes, it's great to have that first prize ribbon. But ultimately, it's about how much money did this movie cost and how much did this movie make? And so whether or not you are number one at the box office this weekend or that, as long as Sonic not only makes its money back, but then makes a lot more money on top of that, which it will because of the Christmas holiday, that's the thing that matters more important than whether or not they were number one. The bean counters at the studios don't care about number one. They care about the money, about the profit that comes in. And also, speaking of family-friendly films, while yes, Avatar may be family-friendly for older kids, let's remember, that movie's coming in at a 3-hour runtime.
Yeah.
I ain't bringing Tommy to see that. 2 hours for Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, granted, you all were there when my son at 3 months went and saw the Batman for his first film in the theater.
He loved it, by the way.
Loved it.
He started talking like this.
He did. I was like, why is his first word revenge? But like I would bring my son at that point. He'll be just over a year. I would bring him to see Sonic, knowing at 2 hours we might be able to get through with just like one diaper dump, but we can get through it before.
Let's be honest. This is less about little Tommy and more about your bladder.
100%. You know me so well. It's like, I'm not sitting through 3 hours. I will wait till Avatar comes out and I can watch it in my home with multiple pee breaks. But yes, absolutely. Or I might just wear a diaper along with my child. So, but yeah, I think that the runtime is also going to factor into this. And so while maybe just speaking on the family level, older kids might be more appreciative of Avatar, I think that families that want to bring young kids to the theater are going to look at that 3-hour runtime and go, might need a sitter for this one. So I think that coming out during the Christmas holiday when people are going to double dip and see both films and then go, what the hell else are we going to do between, leftovers? I think that's a great move. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other movies we're going to see popping up for the holiday.
And by the way, so the first Sonic movie made a really respectable $319 million. The second Sonic, again, remember, we talked about these franchises. The studios want to see the trajectory. The trajectory was going in the right direction. The second one made $400 million. On a Christmas, I think you could see it make $500 million.
Yeah.
Avatar's in trouble, baby. Avatar's in trouble.
Yeah.
What if Avatar 2 sucks? A lot of the people in the chat say, what if it does?
Okay, yeah,
not do
okay,
good?
no,
Well,
Why do people want to bet against James Cameron?
That is a fair thing. What if? And now you can ask that of any. Well, what if Sonic 3 sucks?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, what if Avatar 2 sucks? Okay, let's go there. When's the last James Cameron movie directed movie that sucked?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, like really.
Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Like, did you have to go that far back?
Yes.
You're talking about the guy who made, in my opinion, the greatest action film of all time in True Lies. Maybe some people think the greatest sci-fi series of all time in Terminator. The 2 of the 3 biggest box office films of all time. I mean, so yes, what if Avatar 2 sucks? Is anybody willing to put money on that?
No. Look. I'm watching Avatar 2 over everything this year, but when Sonic comes out the next year, I'm going to watch that one first. I'm more excited
that I
for that
have no
one
doubt.
first, for sure.
But I think they can both do well. I think they're both going to make money. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Sonic 3 is coming out next Christmas on the same day as Avatar. I think there's enough money to be made for everybody there. And I think they're all going to do great. Maybe you guys think it was a big mistake to put it there. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, before we move on to the next topic here, let's take another second here from another sponsor of today's show. I was just using them on the treadmill earlier this morning. Our friends at Raycon. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Raycon. Now, guys, you've heard me talk about the fact that part of my morning routine is getting on my treadmill. And when I do, I always have my Raycon earbuds there to listen to my podcasts and YouTube videos. I go to them every morning. Raycon's everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. With optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, these earbuds are so comfortable and they will not budge. Trust me. Raycon gives you 8 hours of playtime and 32-hour battery life. And the best part for me is that Raycons are priced just right. You get quality audio at half the price of other premium audio brands. That's half the price. And with premium features like noise isolation, awareness mode, and I personally love the earbud tap functions, it's perfect for when I'm on the treadmill. So guys, go to buyraycon.com/Campea today and get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/Campea to get 15% off. buyraycon.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Raycon for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Aaron, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from Jake Calvert. Hey, John and crew, love the show. I was scrolling through Twitter last night when I came across new set photos from Ironheart. These reveal potentially Riri's MK2 suit with her MK1 showing up in Wakanda Forever. I think the suit looks amazing. These set photos also reveal Anthony Ramos's look as the Hood. Seeing these just added to my excitement of this series. What do you guys think of these photos? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, of course, we've got Riri Williams. Is showing back up. What's your problem? We've got
Nothing happened.
Riri Williams.
Everything's normal.
Is obviously, we know she's going to pop up in Wakanda Forever. We see a glimpse of her in the trailer.
Yeah. And
then, of course, we've got the Ironheart series. Now, precursor to this, some of you guys know this. I'm not going to pretend that I'm excited for Ironheart. I'm predisposed to not really getting excited about derivative characters. You got Flash, you got to have Kid Flash. You're going to have Batman, you got to have Batgirl. Like, I'm not really big on derivative characters. Now, even She-Hulk for me at first, I was like, you got Hulk, She-Hulk. Then I said, okay, you do She-Hulk, you make it like Ally McBeal, you do all this kind of stuff. And then the first trailer came out, I'm like, well, it's exactly what I was asking for, so now I'm excited about it. But, like, you got to have Iron Man? Well, Iron Man's not there anymore. Well, let's bring Iron Man back, but now it's Ironheart. Now, granted, I admit, I have never read an Ironheart comic. So, like, I'm not familiar with the mythology of her and her backstory and all that kind of stuff. So, whatever. So, it's got a little bit of work to do for me to get excited about it. Once the trailers come out, like the She-Hulk ones did, maybe I'll get more on board. But now, we're getting our first look, not just at Riri, but we're getting a look at apparently the foil of it as well. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at comicbook.com who wrote the following. In new Ironheart set photo shared by Just Jarred on Monday, breakout star Anthony Ramos, I love him, can be seen donning a look similar to that of Park Robbins, the mystical street-level Marvel baddie that's become a favorite in recent years. In addition to Ramos's confirmation with an incredibly comic-accurate suit nonetheless, Dominic Thorne's Riri Williams can be seen in her new Ironheart armor. Turning to a life of crime, Robin stumbled across a magical cloak that grants him mystical powers, not unlike Doctor Strange and another one of the masters in the mystic arts. What sets the character apart from other magicians, however, is the fact that he's often seen sporting a gun in either hand as his weapon of choice, and that comes to us again from comicbook.com. And again, I went and looked up some of the images of Hood, and that was bang on. I mean, let's bring up some of those images if we got them there. Sure. So that looked absolutely bang on. And yeah, there's one shot of it there, which looks great. And again, the classic look, he's got the pistol in his hand, all that kind of stuff. So that looks great. but that's not the one everybody's creaming over. The one everybody's excited about
Cream.
is the look at Ironheart's
Crispy
MK2,
creaming?
right?
I see what you did there.
So
Crispy
let's
creaming.
crispy creamy.
Yes.
And there's a look at Halo Season 2. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Gears of War.
At a
Season
little bit
one.
of Gears of War. I'm
Hot
sorry. Wait a minute.
toys.
Instant hot toy boner going on right now because that is going to make an awesome looking hot toy.
Yep.
But there's our look, which is, I mean, very Iron Man-ish, but very similar to the Iron Man kind of with color, the MK1 armor and stuff like that. It's interesting. Then you can see where they're going to be mixing practical, because then you see the shot of her in the armor and she's got the reference pants on with the markers and stuff like
Yeah.
that for CGI to happen. So they're going to blend in practical with CGI, which is kind of the best way to go about stuff like this. So listen, I am not excited for Ironheart yet. Let me see some trailers. So I'm not excited for Ironheart. But I like the look of these things. I mean, these look pretty damn good. I know, Rob, you're more big into this kind of stuff than I am. So what do you think about what we're seeing?
Well, I like the character of Ree Williams, if I can ever say it. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't mind derivative characters, and I like the fact that they're leading up to Armor Wars, the Armor Wars series.
Right, yeah.
Which I think it's a good compromise to like we talked about how it's going to be Miss Carter, you know, and trafficking in Stark tech. I like all this. I think it could be kind of cool. I mean, I hope the show's good.
What do you think about this, Aaron? You take a look at, what do you think about the look of it too? And are you excited for this series?
No. I mean, I'm not excited for any of these series. And then you guys talk about it. And then I'm going to be honest, based on what you guys say and based on what the viewers say, I go, okay, yeah, that sounds like something up my alley, or no, that doesn't. I'm not familiar with the source material. So I really base it on what does the final product, how does that resonate with the audience? And so at this point I go, okay, that's on my radar now, but I'm really going to be curious about what ultimately comes out at the end. I agree. The hood looks exactly like it does in the comics. It also looks a lot like Little Red Riding Hood. So that's my first thought when I see that, is I just go, are you going to grandma's house? What are you doing over there?
Just
and
kinda
so
strange.
it's just kind of, I will be looking forward to seeing him in action, because I think that right now I'm just getting a little bit Wolf going to grandma's house vibes. And as far as the character of Riri, yeah, it looks cool, but it also looks wildly uncomfortable, and like it doesn't offer a lot of dexterity or mobility. So I'm curious to see how that character is going to move. If that character can move in the way that Iron Man can move, because that outfit, that costume, that armor is also not conducive to a lot of mobility, then that'll be interesting. And that's where a lot of that CGI and post-production is going to come into play. I'm really just going to have to wait until we see the first trailer, as what happened with She-Hulk. I don't have any excitement over this, but just seeing the set photos, not being familiar with the source material, I don't have any reason to be. I'm not the target demographic. So I'm hoping that when that first trailer drops, they're really going to put everything they have into that first trailer and go, this is why you need to watch this show. Then I'll start getting excited.
Ray, what do you think about it?
Do you think we're gonna see a glimpse of that suit in Wakanda Forever?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, I can't say anything for sure, but I would be, let's put it this way, I would be surprised, at least a little bit surprised, if we didn't see this. I mean, she's there, so I can't imagine that we're not going to get at least a glimpse of it, which I don't know. Are they going to suggest that there's a little bit of preamble there? Like, is there going to be Wakandan tech going in to the MK2 suit that we see in the show? So, I mean, a lot of questions raised. Anyways, guys, questions for you. What did you think about the look of these things? About the hood, about Riri's outfit? Do you like what you're seeing? Are you kind of like me, where it's like, you know what? Okay, but I got to really see a trailer first. Whatever you guys are feeling right now, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move into main topic number 3. Not going to lie, the one I'm most excited about today. Aaron, what is our third main topic today?
This comes to us from Tamer Ferris. Hi, from Barcelona. Barcelona. Hello. I just read through Deadline that Tom Cruise will reprise his role as the amazing Les Grossman. What are your thoughts on it, and how do you think they will do a spin-off of that character? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
People will try to argue with me about this, but it's true. It's damn true. The character of Les Grossman saved Tom Cruise's career. People might forget, if you go back, like how long ago did that movie come out? Like 12 years, 15 years?
Oh, longer than that.
Yeah.
That you go back to when Tropic Thunder came out. Tom Cruise at that point,
2008.
so we're talking getting close to 15 years ago.
15 years.
We're talking about the whole thing about him jumping up and down on Oprah's couch and everything about the Scientology and whatever. And people were kind of getting over Tom Cruise at that point. And he made, in my opinion, the most brilliant career move that you could possibly make. He took on this role of Les Grossman, working with Ben Stiller. Which, by the way, he said he loved working with Ben Stiller because you were talking about like Tom Cruise demands a certain work ethic. Apparently, as kind of silly as Ben Stiller is, apparently he is like no nonsense when it comes to making his films. But he worked on take on this character of Les Grossman to become one of my favorite bit characters in any movie ever. And ever since, and by the way, one of the most entertaining credit roles ever with him dancing to Ludacris.
Oh, come on.
Get Back. Are you kidding me? I watch that at least once a month. I just pop that on YouTube at least once a month and watch it. And there have been a lot of talk since then about them doing a Les Grossman movie. And now it sounds like Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie now planning their after Mission Impossible life. They've got a number of projects on the go. And one of them, they say, is going to be this. This comes to us from the folks over at Joe Blow. Write the following. It turns out that Tom Cruise still has Les Grossman on his mind and is planning on bringing the character back with his Mission Impossible director, Christopher McQuarrie. Deadline has reported that Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie are cooking up several projects to follow Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, one of which would involve Les Grossman. Deadline isn't sure whether Cruise and McQuarrie will have a full Les Grossman movie in mind or if they want to include the character in yet another project. And again, that comes to us from Joe Blow. All right. I'm going to say something that might surprise some of you. If the movie gods were to come to me right now and say, John, wave this magic bottle of gin and make a wish. Henry Cavill comes back as Superman or Tom Cruise makes a Les Grossman movie. Tom Cruise makes a Les Grossman movie.
Wow.
I've been wanting this movie before I knew the name Henry Cavill. I've been wanting this movie for a long frickin' time. And the longer I have been in this business, and I have seen the Les Grossmans in the studio systems, and I've met these people and whatever, all I've wanted is more. I've wanted it more and more and more. So yes, if I could have the one wish, Henry Cavill, I mean, obviously I want them both, but I would say him because I've been wanting this thing for a decade and a half. I've wanted this. Even at the MTV Movie Awards. Do you remember this?
Yep.
At the MTV Movie Awards one year, they did a sketch with Will Smith, his son Jaden Smith, because they were promoting the Karate Kid movie that Jaden had done. And Les Grossman comes out as his sensei or whatever. And it was one of the funniest things they've ever done on that show. I want this back badly. Anyway, Rob, you hear about the possibility of this. Do you think it even could happen? Listen, it's been 15 years. Do people even remember Les Grossman? Should they make this movie?
Yes. Dude, I am with you. I love Les Grossman. You know, Tom Cruise has told the story how he told Ben Stiller that he wanted fat hands and he wanted to dance. And, you know, I love hearing him say that because I love that he took ownership of this role and was willing, like when an actor is willing to subvert their entire persona and look the way Tom Cruise looked, that shows, I mean, he probably, look, like you said, he was looking to revive his career.
It saved his career.
But he threw himself into that role, and with Chris McQuarrie writing the script and directing it, it could be a savage indictment of Hollywood. I want to see the movie. I mean, I love movies about Hollywood. I love like The Player. I love Swimming with Sharks. I love Kevin Bacon, Wag the Dog, The Big Picture. I could see this movie just being savage, like in the post social media age where Les Grossman is at, how the most un-PC canceling, we got to cancel Les Grossman. He's like, I can only imagine. And I just want to see this movie. And Tom Cruise, because that's another thing, you know, he has a persona that he cultivates, the language that he uses as Les Grossman. Somebody
it's so out of character for him.
Yeah, somebody printed out like it looks like a diploma or something that shows you have a law degree, but they made it's just what Les Grossman said when he's on the phone to the. I mean, it would just. I mean, I love a good comedy, John. This could be a $1 billion comedy if it's savage and as hardcore as it could.
Well, here's why it would be great if they did. Because there is a very, very, very short list of people who love Hollywood and what it is more than Tom Cruise does. And to get somebody like that, who's like, loves Hollywood, to be the one to come in and try to do an evisceration of his own stuff.
Oh my God.
Would be amazing.
And if they brought back like Matthew McConaughey and Bill Hader and, you know, all it could be the cast. Can you imagine who wouldn't be in this movie? And
everybody would line up to be in this movie.
Like Robert Altman, when he did The Player, he had a lot of people come and play themselves.
Unless you're on Brad Pitt's list.
Right.
Right.
Unless you're on Brad Pitt's.
That would even be a part of it. Like they would just put all that in the movie. You could get, I think Tom Cruise would call every actor in Hollywood. You could get, everybody would be in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Aaron, you're hearing about this. I don't know. Would you be interested in a Les Grossman movie?
Oh, absolutely. And it's exactly for the reasons why Rob just listed is I also love to see when people pull back the magic curtain and see the wizard for who he actually is. And when we get to see these characters of Hollywood that people, if you're not in the industry, you hear stories and they sound so crazy, but truth is stranger than fiction. And so often those stories not only are true, but they're 10 times crazier than what you even imagine. And Les Grossman, the character, I was just looking it up, he's actually based on a real person, Stuart Kornfeld, who passed away 2 years ago. Passed away in June of 2020. And he was actually Ben Stiller's producing partner. And so he was alive and well during the time that this was made. And when you look back at the movies that he produced, you know that he very much was in on the joke of a caricature of himself because he produced the Zoolander films. He produced one of my favorite films of all time, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, with a very young Sarah Jessica Parker. You know, his resume is just a mile long of incredible funny films. And so for him to be on the sidelines, like behind the, you know, in Video Village watching Tom Cruise essentially making fun of him and him just wanting him to go further, I can see that happening. So what better homage now that he has passed than to give him his own story to tell and to go even further with it. And you're right. The movie resurrected Tom Cruise's career, but now Tom Cruise is in he's in one of a position in his life and his career that very few people, regardless of their industry, get to, which is, I can do anything I want. So now I'm just going to have fun. And this was a character that he clearly had a lot of fun with. Enough time has passed, not enough time, not the same amount of time as with Top Gun, but enough time has passed where he can now go, okay, let's really make something of this. And I love seeing Tom Cruise have fun. And you know what? The guy deserves it, whether he was jumping on a couch back in the day, you know, little side note, we hear stories about how great Tom Cruise is. I have a friend and she was Tom Cruise's makeup artist. She was his #1 makeup artist. And he asked her to come on to his next film, which I think was one of the Mission Impossibles. And she had recently been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And she had 2 young children. He bought her a hyperbaric chamber. Like, that's the kind of stuff that Tom Cruise does for the people he cares about. Is that like, hey, you know what? Take the time, you know, get better. And in the meantime, I'm going to buy you a hyperbaric chamber. Like, he just does stuff for people. And I go, you know what? I want Tom Cruise to be able to just ride out the rest of his career. I mean, he probably is going to live for another 385 years. Yeah, so I want the next 3 centuries of his career to be him just having fun.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think? Listen, I'm sure there's probably a bunch of you guys that have never even seen Tropic Thunder, which, what are you doing? You need to watch Tropic Thunder. What would you guys think about a Les Gross movie? Do you think maybe too much time has passed? And John, like, that was great, but it's been too long. But I mean, I'd be there day one. What do you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys, before we move on, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's episode. We just ate this the other day, and I love the folks at HelloFresh. Hey, guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh's quick and easy recipes, 20-minute meals, and low-prep, low-cleanup options provide an even faster route to putting food on the table around your packed schedule. You need another reason to stay in for dinner? HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant and is even cheaper than grocery shopping. That's money back in your pocket. Guys, Ann and I love HelloFresh. You know, we're both working professionals, so in the end of the day comes along, we're both so tired and frazzled and trying to figure out what to do for dinner. Most of the time, we just end up running out for dinner, which is expensive. But when we've got HelloFresh, it gives us a fun activity to do together, making quick, delicious meals and easy to clean up. We love it. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the code Campea16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea16 using the promo code Campea16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. And thank you to our friends at HelloFresh. Remember, guys, you can find links to our sponsors and all the promo codes down in the description of this video. And remember, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So thank you guys for supporting the sponsors of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's do main topic number 4. Aaron, what is our 4th main topic today?
Our 4th main topic comes to us from Jeremy Givens. I read that Neve Campbell isn't coming back to do the next Scream because they offered her an amount that was lower than she felt she was worth or that she would have been offered if she were a man. What do you think of her comments, and do you agree with her?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And you guys will remember, it was a couple of months ago that news came out that, as hard as it is to believe, that Neve Campbell will not come back for the next Scream movie. They approached her, they asked her to be in it. She has been the star of the franchise. I mean, to differing degrees, but she's the face of the Scream franchise. And she said, no, I'm not going to come back to do this one. And there was some speculation that it turned out it was like she felt insulted by what they offered her to come back and do it. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. She says, I did not feel that what I was being offered equated to the value that I bring to this franchise and have brought this to the franchise and have brought to the franchise for 25 years, Campbell said. And as a woman in this business, I think it's really important for us to be valued and to fight to be valued, Campbell added. I honestly don't believe that if I were a man and had done 5 installments of a huge blockbuster franchise over 25 years, that the number I was offered would be the number that would have been offered to a man. And that again comes to us from Variety. Now, it is, first of all, I think it's great for anybody to go, listen, because we're always saying, if you don't like it, don't do it. And I love the fact that Neve Campbell's like, you know what? No, I don't believe you're offering me what I'm worth to this franchise. And I think if I were a dude, you would be offering me what I'm worth to this franchise. So I'm just not going to do it. And I love that she did that. Now, listen, as far as asking me, do I think it was reasonable for her to do it? I honestly can't give an answer to that question because I don't know what she was offered. Look, the reality is, like, if she was wanting $20 million, and we don't know that she wanted $20 million, I'm just making up a number, okay? If she wanted $20 million, well, look, the reality is that the most recent Scream movie, which to my surprise, I actually quite enjoyed, because I haven't liked any of the Scream movies at all since the original one. Like, I like the original one enough, but I thought all the rest of them have been trash. And then this new one comes out, and I actually really liked it. It only made $140 million worldwide. Not opening weekend, not domestically. It made $140 million total worldwide. So, I mean, if Neve Campbell's coming in and asking for $20 million, even $10 million, that's unreasonable. Like, you're not going to get that money. But at the same time, what did they offer her? Were they offering her $1 million? Were they offering her the same kind of money they offered her when they made the first Scream movie and like nobody really knew what was going on? Like, so in asking me, do I think, who do I say? Well, since I don't know what the numbers are, I can't really say. If she was asking for $10 or $15 million, yeah, that was unreasonable compared to what the franchise is. If they're offering her $1 or $2 million, yeah, that's unreasonable for them. So I don't know. But I do think I can say in principle that, yeah, if you feel you were being undervalued then walk. And she did. And I think if more people did that, I think people would be happier in their careers and jobs. And I think it might start forcing studios to pay attention. Now, look, I'm all for studio fiscal responsibility. I am all for studios not overspending on their movies.
Right.
Absolutely. But there's got to be a balance in there. And if they're offering her way lower, and if the numbers come out and we would go, well, shit, if that was a guy, they would be paying her more, then that's pretty effed up. I don't know, Rob, you hear about this story. What do you think?
Well, the only power you really have in Hollywood is the power to say no and walk away.
Yes.
You know, most people are so desperate. Please, sir, may I have another? You know, everybody wants to work. But like she said, yo, I've been in this franchise for 25 years. I've made a lot of residuals. And if I'm going to come back, you clearly feel enough value in the franchise that you're going to make another one. I am this franchise. Pay me. Like anybody else in Hollywood would expect to get paid what their worth is. And I think it's a mistake in this particular case, if people get paid on a percentage basis in terms of the budget. The budget can only it can only afford what it can afford. And if the budget is a certain amount, you can only pay an actor a certain amount before it cuts into your production costs. And it's not really part of the top sheet. I mean, it really depends. So is the movie getting made for a lot less money? And that's where they're at. And she's like, sorry, I can't be in it. In which case, I totally understand that. I mean, if she's not getting paid, she's not getting paid. And she can say no. Because she doesn't have to do it. Like she said, 25 years, I don't have to be in. Go make 10 more. But you know what? All she has to do is look over there and go, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis was paid for 3 Halloween movies in the last couple of years. And if you're not treating me like Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm out.
See, and here's the interesting. Now, again, I say this as a huge Scream fan, but like I know one of the things is for the trailers for the most recent one is like I'm Sydney, like when you got Sydney on it, that gets people I just wonder how excited are people going to be with Sydney not in it. So I don't know. Aaron, you've heard about this. You've never encountered these types of issues before.
Oh, never. I have always
what
had
do you think about the
equal
story?
pay. Well, I mean, I actually have been in this situation. I was offered a guest lead on a very popular and still running procedural show. And I found out that the man who was playing my husband, who had less work to do, who had less credits than I did and had to audition for his part, unlike being offered like I was not only getting paid more money, but was also getting way more perks than I was. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure I got offered this and you're okay, but cool. So I've experienced that on a personal level. And I do want to say, though, that I know that on the outside, this looks like a girls versus boys. This is about, this is not a girls versus boys or men versus women conversation. Because if you go back to the Sony leak, when we all found out that Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams were given less back-end points than their male counterparts on the
American Hustle?
On American Hustle. I won't say her name because she's still a very powerful woman in Hollywood, and God damn it, I wouldn't mind her hiring me even if she pays me less. It was a woman who actually sent the email that said, give the boys 9 back-end points, give the girls 7. So even though at that time, Jennifer Lawrence was an Academy Award winner and Bradley Cooper was not, and Jennifer Lawrence had been the star of the Hunger Games trilogy, and Bradley Cooper had done the Hangover, which is awesome, but not Hunger Games, because they didn't have, and Jennifer Lawrence even said, she goes, the fact that I don't have a penis cost me millions of dollars. And it was broken down, and that was by the actions of a woman. So it's not like it's men that are doing this bad thing to women. It's the way that women in general overall are seen in this industry. We also saw it happen on the reshoots for the movie that Kevin Spacey was cut out of, and they replaced him with All the Money in the World.
Yeah.
Where for the reshoots,
It was Michelle Williams.
It was
right?
Michelle Williams. She went in and she basically did it for like $800 or something, which was the per diem for the day. And Mark Wahlberg got paid $1.5 million for the exact same amount of work. Now, the crazy thing about that is they were with the same agency. So those agents knew. They knew that they were negotiating $1.5 million for Mark Wahlberg, and they knew they were negotiating just per diem and nothing for Michelle Williams.
Correct me if didn't Wahlberg then volunteer to give up part of this?
When it all came out.
Yeah.
When it all came out and it was everywhere and it was right in the midst of the Me Too and Time's Up movement, he then did donate that $1.5 million to the Time's Up legal fund, which a good move on his part. But that being said, these things are still happening. You know, if you look up gender pay disparities on every single level, it is dramatically different. Women on average get paid, 30 to 50 cents per whatever a man gets paid. And then when you add race into it, Black women and Hispanic women and Asian women make less than white women do. So this is something that continues to happen. So I'm not surprised that Neve, I've met Neve several times. She has been active in our union. You're right, Rob. She doesn't need this money. She's currently starring on The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix.
She's really good in that too.
Yeah, she has an active career. And the fact that she's not coming out and saying, this is how much they pay me, she's just bringing light to the problem, not making it about the numbers. And this is not Neve Campbell sitting there with a calculator going, how much am I worth? How much you need to pay me? This is Neve and her agents and her managers and her lawyers, and them working with the studio and knowing exactly how much other people are getting paid for comparable films. Looking at Jamie Lee Curtis, which was an excellent example, and going, well, how much did that movie make? How much did our movie make? So I love the fact that you have people standing up and saying, no, I'm not going to do it. Because when a woman says, okay, I will take that garbage that you're feeding me, the studio goes, great, then we get to feed everybody else garbage. Yeah. So when a woman is brave enough, or when anyone is brave enough to say, hey, this is not okay, and you need to do better, and also ultimately goes to the press and raises awareness about it so that we start having these conversations, that's the only time that things actually get done, is when people are brave enough to step forward and say, hey, this is what's happening, and it's not okay.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you make of this? Are you going to be as interested in the Scream series without Sydney being in there? Do you think it was right for her to walk away at that point? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 5, shall we? Aaron, what is our 5th main topic today?
This comes to us from Jordan Kleinhen. As we've all seen already, Ezra Miller is once again in the news for bad behavior. A crime on May 1st that they were just charged for on August 7th by Vermont police. I'm tired, and I'm sure Zaslav is too. Do they still just hope it blows over before the release? Salvage it into something else?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Jordan. Every effing time that we have to discuss this situation, I have to say, and hopefully this is the last time we got to talk about this individual, but it's come up again. And again, the reason it's relevant, you know me, I don't give a damn about the TMZ nonsense. I'll let other people talk about the bullshit gossip nonsense, but this is directly impacting a major upcoming comic book film that has hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, all this kind of stuff. And this individual can't just effing behave themselves. This comes to us from the folks over at the Hollywood Reporter, wrote the following. According to a police report posted online, Vermont State Police were notified May 1st of a potential burglary when residents on Country Road in Stamford, Vermont, reported that several bottles of alcohol were taken from within the residence while the homeowners were not present. Following an investigation that included taking statements and reviewing surveillance videos, police found probable cause to charge Miller. There he is on video doing it. Yep, that's pretty good cause that we can do it. To find probable cause to charge Miller. The actor was ultimately located at 12:23 p.m. on August 7th and issued a citation to appear in Vermont Superior Court for an arraignment hearing on September 26th. It's unclear if Miller knows the residents of the home that was burglarized. And that, of course, comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. All right, look, let me say first off, compared to a number of other things that Miller has allegedly done, this is rather tame.
Right.
Okay? Compared to a lot of the other more disturbing stuff that Miller has allegedly done, this is a rather more tame one. Still, if you are the homeowner that found out somebody went into your home, there's not a lot of other things that just give you a feeling of being violated than finding that somebody went into your home. And forget that they took bottles of alcohol. I mean, if somebody went into your home and took shit out, I mean, that's pretty whatever. this is another thing, man. If I'm sitting around the offices at Warner Brothers these days, it's like every time the phone rings or every time if you're an executive, there's a knock on the door, you instantly think before answering the phone or telling them to come in, please don't be something else about Ezra Miller. Please, oh God, no, why? Nothing more about Ezra Miller, please. And then in comes walking the poor intern, says, so it's about Ezra Miller, then you fire that poor intern because you're taking it out on them, and then you feel bad for them. But anyway, it's just again and again and again and again. Now, I've had a lot of people writing me over the last 24 hours asking me, is this the final straw? Is this the final straw that they fire Ezra Miller? Well, look, I can 100% guarantee you, 100% guarantee you, they've already fired Ezra Miller. I don't think there's anybody that disagrees that Ezra Miller will never be the Flash again. Warner Brothers will not work with Ezra Miller again. If they do another Fantastic Beasts movie, you won't see Ezra in it. If The Flash continues after this movie, you will not see Ezra. I guarantee you they've already fired Ezra Miller. But the question is, yeah, but they're still in this movie. Well, yeah, but what are they going to do? I mean, they acquired this. They inherited this Ezra Miller problem. They didn't cause it. They're not the one who cast Ezra Miller. They inherited this problem. And what are you going to do? You going to be the one to go up to Andy Muschietti and say, hey, Andy, we know you've poured your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and you promised us a good movie. And from all accounts that we've heard, they've made a very good movie. From every source that we have, this Flash movie they've made is actually supposed to be quite good, and they're excited about it over Warner Brothers. What are you going to do? Go to Andy Muschietti and say, hey, man, you worked for years on this. You delivered us a good product that we can be proud of, but we're going to scrap your movie because of the actions of one of the people that worked on it. An important person that worked on it, but we found somebody who worked on it that's been just a nightmare, so we're going to scrap it. You can't do that if you're Warner Brothers. You just can't at this point. Now, I said for a long time that the previous regime at Warner Brothers, when this first started, when that video came out years ago of Miller like choking that girl and all that kind of stuff, when that came out, we said, you got to address this now, because if you don't address it, you're enabling them, and this is just going to get worse. And we said this, Rob, we said this for months, that if you don't come out and address this as Warner Brothers, you're only enabling Ezra's behavior. You're just going to make the situation worse and whatever. And they never did anything. And now years have passed, and we're literally at the point where it's too late to say anything now. What's the new ownership of Warner Brothers supposed to do? What's the point of coming out and addressing it now? There's no point. There's just no point. We all know the story with Ezra. We all know Ezra should never work in this business again. And we know that if they could wave a magic wand and replace Ezra Miller with the frickin' kid from Riverdale, they would, but they can't. They can't. So now at this point, anything short of Ezra Miller straight up murdering somebody, which honestly, at this point, I'm not going to be shocked if we find out tomorrow that happens.
Ugh.
Because they just enabled this individual for years now. But anything short of that, I just think Warner Brothers will and should just carry on. Look, we got to get this movie out. There's going to be no press junket. There's going to be no premiere. They're not even going to try to do celebrity interviews. No, they're just going to put out trailers, and they're going to put the movie out. They're going to rake in a couple $100 million for it. And then they're going to move on from Ezra, and Ezra will never be this thing again. And all I do, whenever I hear more about this, I just feel for people like Andy Muschietti and people like, Michael Keaton, or this poor girl who was getting her start as playing Supergirl or whatever. Like, and all the hundreds of people and thousands of people who put all their time, energy into this and made a good movie, and they just keep getting punched in the proverbial balls for stuff that is beyond their control. And it's too bad. And listen, we had the Batgirl situation. Again, I feel bad for everybody involved in Batgirl, but from everybody that I've talked to that has had connection to the project, they said the movie was not good. So that changes the situation. But I feel bad for someone like Andy Muschietti in this. Anyway, Rob, this is the 17th time that we've unwillingly had to talk about Ezra Miller. Now listen, this is a felony charge. This is a felony charge. Yeah. This isn't a public complaint. This isn't a citizen complaint. This is a felony charge. I don't know. What do you make of this now?
Well, John, I agree with everything you said, but there's something about all this now that's getting a little, in my mind, sort of strange. So this crime, he was accused of burglary, felony burglary, yet this happened back in May, the beginning of May, so 3 months ago. He stole bottles of booze. Now, I got to ask a question. There have been times, and of course, I'm jonesing for some Jameson, and I might not have any, but it's not like I pull over my car and be like, you know what, I'm just going to go into that house over there just because, and I'm going to go steal some liquor from their liquor cabinet or whatever. This just doesn't seem, it seems like we're getting half the story. Why this house? Why not just drive down to the corner store and buy the booze you want? He has money. He just made the flash. I mean, it's weird. And why did it take them 3 months to finally come out and say, yep, we're busting him for burglary? Why didn't it happen when he did it? Like, they didn't have the surveillance footage. I think now there's just got to be more to this. I think
You will find in law this is pretty standard. Like when an initial thing like that happens, unless it's a violent crime,
right?
When something like that happens, they will do an investigation. Then remember, other law agencies have been having trouble loking.
Right.
Yeah, but he wasn't located until August.
Yeah, and then they found him served. I just think this is such a weird. This whole thing is weird to me. I want somebody to do like an investigative report and lay this timeline out, explain everything that he's done and all this crazy stuff, because it just seems to me like it's just weird. I don't get it. I'm like, if he was a criminal mastermind, like they're now saying, you know, he had a cult in Iceland. He had this house and was running this house like a cult. I'm like, huh. You know, but if somebody said to me that Ezra Miller has been exposed as an alien who's been infiltrating human society, and he's just seeing what he could get away with just to have like the alien in the hidden, it would not surprise me, because all this stuff is so weird. And Warner Brothers had to have known that this accusation was coming down the pike. You know, this isn't something that.
Not necessarily. I mean, they don't have legal privilege to.
No,
like
but I'm sure that they've got somebody investigating this.
Well, of that part,
they've
probably
got to have somebody who's been following this up, going, how much more is there? Like, are we going to find out that you really have a volcano base, like you only live twice? That's why you're in Hawaii all the time, because you really have I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a weird thing. And obviously, it's getting to the point where I feel bad, but how much does Warner Brothers, how much does David Zaslav have to put up with?
But that raises a question, though. What can they do about it at this point? Right? I mean, like, you can't say, well, we fire you. Well, okay, that's fine, but that doesn't take effect till later. Like, really, what can you do? At what point, like, do we say there's actually nothing Warner Brothers at this point can do? I mean,
no.
they're not Ezra's keepers. They're not their babysitters. They're not their parent. They're not, anything like that. I mean, what can you even do at this point? I mean, you can say, we're going to punish everybody else by canceling this movie. What does that do to Ezra? That doesn't do anything to them. That does nothing to Ezra Miller.
I wish he did better crimes. At least something where you could be like, it's like, dude, I broke into a house and stole some booze. I stole booze when I was like 14. Like, isn't it all time? I mean, isn't it? And I didn't get caught. And isn't there something better he could do? Like, I wish if he started a cult in Iceland, at least that would be interesting. But now it's like junior high level shenanigans. And why, dude? You're a movie star.
Well, I mean, we could ask the same question about some of the other stuff. Like, you're Ezra Miller. Why are they needing to stay at some stranger's house? Remember the couple?
Get an Airbnb. Get a room at the Four Seasons.
There's a lot of strange stuff. Anyway, Aaron, you hear about all this. What's your takeaway here?
Well, first of all, I just want to speak to the power of Rob's manifestation, because the moment that he said, I just want someone to lay out a timeline for me, I was happening to scroll through the timeline on vulture.com. They actually have a date and they've updated it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it has been updated, and I'm sure that it will continue to be updated. So if you want to get the entire play-by-play of Ezra Miller's shenanigans and antics and felonies and bullshit that has been going on for years now, just go over to vulture.com and you can read the entire thing. I like our friend who wrote in, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I kind of want Warner Brothers just to release the damn movie so we can stop talking about Ezra Miller. I'm over it. Like at this point, no one would be able to command this much energy from the press if they because the second that this movie is released, everybody's going to just be like, "Oh, Ezra Miller was arrested again." Who cares? Like nobody's going to. The only reason why people care right now is because there are hundreds of millions of dollars on the table right now. And so the minute that this movie is released, then I hope that this is all going to go away. You're absolutely right. The previous regime at Warner Brothers made a fatal mistake in not nipping this in the bud at the time.
Yeah.
And now that Ezra's been fired, you're right. And that was the thing is prior to the firing, which the firing didn't happen until mid-June. This, break-in apparently happened in May, so it wouldn't have done any good anyway. But God knows what other things have popped up between May and now that we're going to find out in the coming weeks or months. If at some point they said, okay, we're going to give you a handler or we're going to call a 5150 on you, which I'm surprised that he didn't get a 5150 on him when he was in Hawaii after everything that was going on. If you don't know what a 5150 is, look it up.
Is that a Van Halen record?
It is a Van Halen. I'm just going to say. Yeah.
It is when you are a danger to yourself and others and you are involuntarily locked up for a minimum of 48 hours. Don't ask me why I know all of this about 5150s. I have not been 5150, but Ezra Miller certainly needs to have been at some point. And yeah, I think that we're all just tired, and I don't think that the movie should be canned because everyone who has seen parts of it, who has seen what they have on the table, has said the movie's great. The movie's fantastic, and if the movie weren't great, it would be Batgirled. But it's not going to be Batgirl because it's fantastic. So I'm excited to see the movie. And I hope that I have the ability to separate art and reality enough to enjoy it. Honestly, it's hard for me to do that with certain performers. It's hard for me to go. I mean, I really love Swimming with Sharks. It's going to be hard for me to go back and watch that movie with Kevin Spacey in it. There are certain people that you just can't separate. I believe that we will be able to because so much of this is CGI and it's really about the Flash. It's not a movie about Ezra. I think if this were a narrative drama, it would be a little bit different. But in the same way that I saw Prey recently and it's a great movie. And I was talking to Tom and I go, it's amazing that, they had no big names. And he goes, well, Predator is kind of the big name. And I go, yeah, that's a good point. So in this case, it's a movie about the Flash. I don't necessarily think of it as an Ezra Miller movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like
it's only when he slows down that he becomes Ezra Miller.
Right.
I still honestly look. I wasn't joking when I said I really do think there's a very, very strong chance they rename this movie to Batman Flashpoint or just Flashpoint. I really, really do. To anything they can do to take the emphasis off of Ezra Miller in this. Anyway, guys, we've gone way over time, so we need to move on from this. But question is for you. Are you surprised that there's yet another thing coming to light about Ezra Miller? I mean, granted, I think this one is a fairly more tame one compared to others, but still talking about breaking into somebody's house, stealing things from I don't know. Whatever you guys make of this whole thing, jump on down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we are now going to throw it open to you guys. We're going to now spend the rest of the show taking your thoughts, theories, comments, questions. So we are opening up the super chats right now. If you've got a thought, theory, comment, or questions, now's your time to jump down in there and fire that in now. So before we get to those questions, though, we're going to take a second and hear from the final sponsor of today's episode, our friends at Athletic Greens. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, I started taking Athletic Greens because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I was looking for a way to make up for that deficit in my diet of those vitamins and minerals that I really needed in my system, and thank goodness I found Athletic Greens, and I literally take it every morning. You see, with one scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all the things. And my wife got onto it, and now she absolutely loves it. You know, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb, like Athletic Greens. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Campea. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Campea to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And a big thank you to our friends at Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, we're now going to hear from you guys, the viewers. We're going to start off with our beloved channel members. So, Ray, what do we got from our channel members?
Yep, we got one from Magnus Mikey Carlson. He says, Warner Brothers Discovery be fuming right now because the Ezra Miller situation was almost out of the media, but this is going to light the spark again. It might be easier to do a tax write-off of the movie and reshoot the movie.
No, it won't. No, that's that. Let me just tell you right now, that is just foolish talk. That you're talking about an additional hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Listen, as much as all this nonsense is nonsense, they put this movie out, and you're right. I mean, one of the positive things that come out of the Batgirl situation is nobody was talking about Ezra Miller, but you put this movie out. Listen, most average movie fans have no idea what's going on with Ezra Miller. You put this movie out in theaters, it's going to make, listen, I'll tell you right now, it's going to make $400 million minimum. It's going to make $400 million. It's not going to make $1 billion, but it's going to make $400 million. There is no economical, make sense way of just, of trashing, especially if they think they have a good movie. But you're right. I mean, every time this comes up, they've got to be just smashing their heads against the wall. All right, what's next?
Okay, Rise Jones says, WB are in a no-win situation with The Flash. Damned if they release it, damned if they don't.
Yeah, it is. But, and again, the releasing thing, here's the problem. Ezra Miller has destroyed their opportunity to get the maximum return on this movie. So that's out of the question. They're never going to get maximum return on this movie now, thanks to Ezra Miller. But they will still get a return. Make no mistake about it. I mean, we're dreaming if we think they're going to put this movie out and no one goes to see it. We represent in these movie circles, we represent 10% of the audience, maybe. They're still going to get return back, but not what they could. I'm not even saying they're going to break even on this movie. I'm not saying that at all, but they're going to get a hell of a lot more money back on that investment than by putting out in theaters than if they didn't.
You know, John, with Ezra Miller's conduct and what's happened with someone like, say, Kevin Spacey having to pay because of that conduct, the producers, I'm wondering.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, for $31 million. He has to pay back to the producers of House of Cards because his conduct affected their show.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
Well, yeah, and if they continue to do this,
oh, they're going to get sued by Warner Brothers.
will they?
Oh, yeah.
Warner
Ezra
Brothers?
Miller, yeah, I have very, very little doubt that not only 2 months after this movie comes out, 2 announcements are going to happen. Number one, that due to scheduling conflicts, Ezra Miller's not going to be able to play the Flash anymore. And then maybe 2 to 6 months after that, there's a lawsuit happening between Warner Brothers suing Ezra Miller for damages for the fact that they didn't make as much money as they could have on the Flash because of their behavior. So I think both of those things are coming. I think both of them are coming. Wow. All right, what's next?
Okay, Dominic Summer writes, I'm just going to say that Les Grossman would have handled this Ezra Miller situation so much better.
I 100%, I was just thinking about this, 100% guarantee you that if they make this Les Grossman movie, oh my God, they're going to include this. This is totally going to be included in that. There's going to be things like, they're going to say he works for Warner Brothers and that he's screaming that, I know a guy who takes out problem people and tell me fucking hire him right now and take this asshole out. I mean, I guarantee you there's going to be a scene about that. 100%.
I actually, as an actor, I love when a producer is not afraid to do that in a non-abusive way, of course.
Right.
But there is a story, and I won't say what show it was, where there was some entitled young actors on a very successful show, and a certain actress would not come out of her trailer, and the producer knocked on her door, opened the door and basically sat her down and was like, "You are replaceable right now. I will call your agent today and get you fired, and I will not pay you a dime of your contract if you don't get your ass out there and go to work right now." And she went to work. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to treat people like sometimes people just need a good talking to. As Chris Rock said, sometimes you got to give them a little shake. Not a hit, a shake.
All right, what's next?
All right, Call Me Ish writes, John, I dare anyone to watch the first season of Game of Thrones, then watch the last season, and tell me that it doesn't feel like a bad Axel Braun porn parody of Game of Thrones. Just waiting on Rob's cameo, not feeling it.
Listen, I get it. There's that sentiment out there. I 1,000% disagree. I think there's a reason that final season of Game of Thrones won more Emmys than any show, any season of television in television history. I think it was utterly fantastic. Now, if you try to watch season 1 of Game of Thrones and then just skip to the last season, well, you do that on almost any show, you're going to be completely lost and have no idea what's going on. But yeah, I think it was pretty damn fantastic. Although I agree with the one criticism everybody has, that it was clearly rushed. There was no excuse for it to only be the number of episodes that it was. No, it could have been much, much better, but I still think it was great. All right, what's next?
All right, Carlos Caseda writes, Prey hit all the right notes for me. It's my favorite movie to come out this year. Totally unexpected. It hurts my heart that it didn't get a theater release. Mid-Thunder needs to be on Hollywood's radar.
I mean, and after Prey, she will be. The movie is so good, but listen, I'm the guy who's like, put movies in theaters, but I get why they didn't. The Predator brand name was mashed after that last Predator movie. So they knew they wouldn't even make back the marketing budget if they try to put it in theaters.
Even if they put it in right now, like if, let's say people really want
everybody who's
it
interested in it already watched it for free on TV. I mean, that's the problem. So putting in theaters now is, what are you going to do? You're going to mount a $25 million marketing campaign?
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. But if they made another one now, that one may go to theaters because they've kind of restored the reputation of the franchise at this point. The movie's great.
And Mid-Thunder better get paid like a man.
All right, what's next?
Eddie writes, eating tacos right now. Just thought y'all should know. Oh, and great show as always.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to know someone out there is enjoying a good taco.
I know,
It's Taco
man.
Tuesday, man. We all ought to be eating tacos.
Now, Ray's
Tom, are you
excited.
watching?
All right,
Okay,
what's
last
next?
one from My Kid Banana.
Sorry.
My Kid Banana writes, I live 15 minutes from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, birthplace of the original Krispy Kreme shop. And yes, it's still producing fresh, warm donuts daily.
You know, it's funny. Krispy Kreme, I would watch a documentary on the company because there was a period of time, a bunch of years ago, there was a period of time when there was like Krispy Kremes everywhere. And then all of a sudden, I felt like it was like a Thanos snap. Except instead of 50%, it was like 95% of them just disappeared. And the only one that was around me forever was living in Burbank. We had one like 15 minutes from us in Burbank, but that was the closest one.
I used to go to that one after doing the show, and I would legit sit in the drive-through because it was during COVID, so you couldn't go in the store.
The drive-through always went out back onto the road. It was
I would sit there for
crazy.
like 30 minutes waiting for one donut.
Look, I walked in and me and Ann were getting some, and then they throw away the ones that don't cook right.
Right.
And I argued with a girl, like, what do you do with those? She's like, she throws them away. I was like, I'll buy them. Just give them to me, whatever. They're not allowed to.
They're not
I'm
allowed
like,
to.
so
Yeah.
mad because
Yeah.
they might be really good, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Half raw.
Little funky shaped, but man,
All right.
so yummy.
Sounds like an
that-
anthology TV show, the Krispy
With
Kreme
that
Chronicles.
down, let's get on to the super chats that you guys have sent in. So, Aaron, what's up first?
All right, our first one comes from our friend James Argenta, who says the best ad for Ironheart will be her being a fan favorite character in Black Panther 2. That's true. Also, if Robert Downey Jr. comes back for the Tony Stark AI for her suit.
I mean, you're absolutely right that the best promo for the Ironheart series is how she's portrayed. I mean, it's kind of like T'Challa in Civil War was the best ad possible for Black Panther. So that's absolutely true. I think it would be tacky to have Robert Downey Jr. just as the voice of the AI. Rob, what do you think?
I think so. Because it would seem cheap in a way. Like, come on, guys, don't do that.
All right, what's next?
This one comes to us from Isaac, who says, movie fights throwback question. These two Blu-rays are in the $5 bargain bin. Which one are you buying? The Phantom Menace or The Rise of Skywalker?
The Phantom Menace strictly because the the behind the scenes stuff on those like the Star Wars prequels are garbage, but the behind the scenes making of documentary material on those discs are some of the best of all time. They're amazing. I could watch those always. I don't know, Rob, which one for you?
Look, the Phantom Menace has the pod race in it. I'll watch that.
I love
got
the pod
Darth
race.
Maul fighting Qui-Gon and
Yep.
Obi-Wan. There's nothing in The Rise of Skywalker that I like. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even horseback.
There are a couple of semi-redeeming qualities about it, but the movie's just terrible.
It's
It's
terrible.
just a bad one. All right, what's next?
The dead speak.
Nash Preds 99 sends in a $10 super chat and says, no one has possessed Ezra Miller's ability to suddenly appear in random places, commit crimes, then somehow escape any real consequences since Carmen Sandiego or McCavity from the musical Cats, the magical Mr. McCavity was different from magical Mr. Mistopheles. Huge Cats fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a feel. Listen, a lot of times the legal system, it takes time and process. And listen, I think there's going to be more stuff to come, both that are repercussions of the things that we have already heard about, but it just may come later. I mean, so don't write that off just yet. We'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Next to us comes from Dante Siricia, who says, hey, crew, do you think that Sonic 3 is coming so late because they want or need that Knuckles series on Paramount Plus to be released first?
What do you mean late? It's literally going to come out 2 years after the last one came out. I mean, how long do you think it takes to make a movie? I don't think listen, if anything, I was a little bit surprised that it was coming out as soon as it was, to be honest, for me. I don't know, Rob, what do you think?
And it's an effects heavy movie. I heard from a friend that talked about how an executive at Paramount, they were worried if they could get the effects finished because there's a huge backlog of franchise properties that have lots of effects. And there's so many effects houses. So they're probably giving themselves, like you said, 2 years for an effects heavy movie is pretty much par for the course because they have to
especially
make those
an
effects.
effects heavy movie on a budget.
Right.
Will take even longer. All right, what's next?
This one comes to us from James Wheeler, who generously sends in a $50 super chat.
Thank you,
so
James,
much,
so much, man.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I am excited to be seeing E.T. this Thursday in the theater. I haven't seen this in the theater since it came out 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Listen, I have never been able to see E.T. on the big screen. The closest I came to seeing E.T. on the big screen was at the John Williams concert when they played the final 10 minutes of the movie with the orchestra playing the music to it. But I would love to see that on the big screen. That is an awesome time that you've got coming.
You know, that was one of my favorite experiences in a movie theater ever because I saw it a week before it opened. They had they used to have public sneaks where they'd show a movie to generate word of mouth. And people forget, nobody knew that movie was made in a lot of secrecy. So no one knew what it was about. They knew it was, even the poster just had clouds with lights coming out of them. So sitting in that theater, dude, I've never sat in a theater and felt that kind of magic. It was packed because everyone knew it was Steven Spielberg and Poltergeist had just come out and people were hyped. And I wept. I mean, everyone in that theater you could feel, it was like being at a revival, feeling the power at a Southern Baptist church. The spirit was there, man. And it was incredible. It was incredible seeing that movie in the theater, especially not knowing anything about it.
Oh, that's really cool.
True story. This was probably about a year ago. So this is before the new commercial came out. Remember where they brought Elliot, the actor who played Elliot, back, and they did the commercial with E.T. that E.T. came back 30 years later, whatever. But about a year ago, I won't say who it was, but I was having this discussion with somebody about how bad video game movies are. And the person said, well, you always forget the one of the greatest movies ever was a video game movie. Mortal Kombat? E.T. I'm like, excuse me? Like one of the iconically like one of the worst video game movies of all time. I said, no, just wait. Just so I understand right. Are you saying you thought the E.T. Atari video game that they literally buried 500,000 copies in the Nevada desert? Do you think the movie was based on that game? And they're like, it wasn't? No.
The documentary was amazing, by the way.
No, it wasn't. It didn't happen. So it's like one of those light bulb moments. In this person's defense,
Or a heart light moment.
yeah, a little heart. Yeah. In that person's defense, both the video game and the movie had come out just before they were born. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass on that. But it's like, no, that didn't happen. All right.
Yeah.
And thank you for writing that in, man. And thank you so much for supporting us on that level. That's great. All right, what's next?
This one comes to us from Attack of the Mushi, who says, I'm glad DC isn't pulling out early of theaters.
Yeah, again, Warner Brothers again saying that whole hard line, where that's coming from is that under Jason Kilar, the old regime, they're saying, yeah, hard line, 45 days, our movies go on to, and now Warner Bros. Saying, yeah, no, if a movie's doing well in theaters, we're going to let it live in theaters, which is absolutely the 1,000% right thing to do. All right, what's next?
Banjo-wielding Velociraptor says, I'm sorry, but Zaslav isn't willing to fix Batgirl so it doesn't hurt the brand, but The Flash, they're willing to risk it. How does that make any sense?
And 1,000% makes sense. How much money do you think it's going to cost to fix Batgirl? They're already at a certain number. So now you're talking about, first of all, the movie's
okay, just
already,
so you know, Banjo-wielding Velociraptor just said, I kind of regret my super chat.
I'm just going to say, like, already what was supposed to be a $70 million project already ballooned to $90 million, and it wasn't even done yet with the whole thing. They still had to, remember, we were reading that Variety article, we still had tens of millions more dollars to go. Now you want to probably drop another 30 or $40 million on top of that. And where are you going to make your money back on that? You're not going to make a single damn cent of it putting on HBO Max. And if the movie's as bad as it is, I mean, like, that's the thing. It wouldn't make any financial sense. So again, you got to remember that there are two major distinctions between, because I just want to slap my head whenever I read on social media, it's like, oh, they're got Batgirl, but they're still doing Flash. Well, that's because there are two big differences. Number one, the Flash thing cost more than double what, to a point, triple what Batgirl costs. So there's that amount of money that's already been invested. So you're already, in poker terms, you're already pot committed. But the other thing is that from everything we've heard, the Flash movie's really good. And that's the main difference, is that they, like David Zaslav said himself, we're not going to put out a movie we don't believe in. They don't believe in the Batgirl movie. They do believe in the Flash movie.
Although, the marketing department at Warner Brothers is like, damn it. They're getting so much press on this Batgirl movie. If they put it out next week, they would,
it would still not do anything.
I know,
That's the thing. And so, it is. You just got to remember that they are two different circumstances. All right, what's next?
Next to us comes from Jay Master. Breaking news. The John Campea Show presents the Krispy Kreme Donuts Chef Show. LOL.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of regret it. We we should have charged them at least $1,000 for putting those hats on, I think.
Yeah.
Probably minimum. You know what? I'll send the bill anyway. Just see if they respond to it. All right, what's next?
Next is from Zach Marcello, who sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Zach.
So much, Zach. My cousin and his wife are not big moviegoers in recent years. Since the pandemic, they've not been back to the theaters. Well, they have been to see the
Top Gun Maverick
4 and 5 times respectively. Just an example of the draw of this film. They're not dumb.
One of the big stories, Zach, about Top Gun was the fact, and why it's not just a successful film, but an important film, was that it was the first movie. And obviously, look, Spider-Man came out, made billions of dollars, but the over 40 crowd hadn't started coming back to the theater yet. And that's a major demographic. And Top Gun Maverick was that movie that got people to go, okay, well, we'll come back to the theaters now. Like, the timing was right. I mean, we'll keep that in mind too. The timing was right and all that kind of stuff. But that's why Top Gun isn't, like I said, not just a successful film. It's an important film because it did bring those demographics back out, and those demographics now continue. That's why a movie, listen, I think if people hadn't come back out to see Top Gun Maverick, I don't know that Bullet Train makes over $30 million this past weekend, right? So I think a lot of other movies have now been reaping the rewards of what Top Gun Maverick did.
Well, I am just glad that people are finally acknowledging Gen X, because we have been the most overlooked generation in history. We got money to burn, man.
And we're the best generation in history.
The coolest, for sure.
All right, what's
Definitely
next?
the coolest. Next to us comes from Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
Give me a Lex Grossman The Offer type of show.
Oh my God, that's the show.
No, I would.
You do
love
The
that.
Offer, but with a Les Grossman in it.
And you could even bring Matthew Good back to play Robert Evans.
Oh my God.
And like their rival producers.
That would be a short rivalry, I think. All right, what's next?
This one is from Josh Becker, who says, no new big movies till October, but we got big TV soon.
I mean, yeah, see, that's part of the problem right now, is, and this is indicative of all the scheduling stuff that they've had, is that we've had this big resurgence, and now I feel really bad for Regal, AMC, whatever, because now the studios have kind of left them high and dry. Now we got nothing. And again, I don't blame them for not putting Prey in theaters, because it was never going to make back because of the reputation of the franchise. But I mean, now you've got these theaters that are kind of high and dry with no new material, no new product to put out for a couple of months. But we do got a lot of good stuff on TV coming, that's for sure. All right, what's next?
Next is from SOMD Picker, says Disney. Oh, you don't like Professor Hulk? Watch this. Hulk throws rock far.
I mean, yeah, did you see the latest promo?
Yeah.
Because like people say, how come She-Hulk threw the rock further? Well, it's like, I always said, but if you watch the trailer, Hulk just did this and threw the rock, where She-Hulk did a full wind up and threw it further. Well, now they've shown what happens after that. Rock was like, oh, that's cute. And he picks up the rock and he throws it across the globe.
Yeah, I want to see where that rock landed.
I do too. Or does it go into orbit?
I think in the show we might find out.
I hope so. But yes, I am over Professor Hulk. I'm sure he's going to be great in the show. I am, but I have been yearning to get back to real Hulk. Anyway, what's next?
This comes to us from Ty Burton, who sends in a $10 super
Thank you,
chat.
Ty.
Thank you so much, Ty. Hi, gang. Hello. I wanted to let Rob know that I watched your Making of Tron documentary this weekend. I saw a Tron double feature at the El Capitan on Saturday. Awesome. So it put me in a bit of a Tron kick.
Yeah, a lot of people have told me that because they did show Tron and Tron Legacy at the El Cap. And then that documentary I made on YouTube. It's not on Disney Plus. We made it for the 20th anniversary of Tron back in 2002. I'm really proud of that documentary. It's a feature length. It's 88 minutes long. And we just couldn't get David Warner to be in it.
All right, what's next?
Next to us comes from Andy, who says, speaking of derivative characters, when you get Flash, you don't just get Kid Flash, you have 20 other speedsters.
I know, listen, I've always said, when I look back on the Flash series on CW, I'm going to look back on it fondly. I really enjoyed that show overall, right? One of its problems was, like, we joke about it, but it's like Oprah. You get the Speed Force and you get speed powers. And it's like everybody and their sister's a speedster now. And that got a little bit tiring. And every single season, the whole basic kind of main plot point of it was a mopey Barry going, I'm just not fast enough. And like that became the thing like every single time. But it's still, overall, it was a show I did enjoy. And I already kind of miss it. All right, what's next?
This one comes to us from Thomas BDL, who says, I feel your pain about
For All Mankind.
For All Mankind ending, Rob. It's like we've just reunited with our beloved For All Mankind family members, fam members, and it's already time to part ways again. Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
When does it come back?
They got greenlit for season 4.
But they didn't announce like
They
a
don't know
production
when.
What do
date.
you think about the actress who plays Annie Glenn? She's a friend of mine, so say nice things.
I love all the actors on the show.
They're very shady.
Very political.
No,
Bob.
all the I love.
But she's
all,
the best, right?
Well,
What's next?
What's next?
Nora's a Hetner, if you didn't know.
she's
and
not.
wonderful.
She's not on the show anymore though,
Oh.
because it jumps ahead. She
Why
was
does
John
he know
Glenn's
more
wife.
about your friend on this show than you do?
You know what? I know a lot of people on TV, so if I watched all of my friends on TV, I wouldn't have much else time to do anything.
All
Annie
right,
Glenn
what's
was the
next?
first season.
Stubble McShave says, saw the trailer for Ruben Ostland's Triangle of Sadness, which won the Palme d'Or this year at Cannes. It looks quite good. Seems to be a takedown of The Rich and Famous.
Now, is that the one? Is that the Spanish film
I am
where
looking
it showed
up.
like the trailer starts off with like a bunch of like servants at a big wedding festival, and then all of a sudden,
That's the Mexican
the
movie.
menu.
oh, that's the okay. Oh, that's what that one.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
So
but-
I'm not familiar with this one, to be honest with you.
Not
Triangle of
either.
Sadness is, I'm looking up on IMDb. Oh, Woody Harrelson. No, that's an ad for something else. Sorry. Yeah. I don't recognize the names of the actors. No, Woody Harrelson is in it. Yeah. That's the only actor whose name is jumping out at me.
All right. Well, so we'll keep.
So
our eye
we'll
on it.
see.
All right. What's next?
Next to us comes from Luis Enrique de la Peña, who says, John, you always say you hate ketchup on eggs,
Yep.
but how about ketchup or mayonnaise flavored ice cream? Would you buy it?
Hell
No.
no.
Oh
No,
my
no.
God.
Yeah, I heard recently that that tomato flavored ice cream was just released.
No.
No.
Just no.
It's not released.
No.
It's a
No.
lie.
Why?
Listen. I'm a fan of a lot of different foods, but it's got to be paired with the right thing. Like I like mayo on a lot of stuff, but mayo ice
What's
cream.
that
no.
ice cream parlor? The sand and
Oh, Salt and Straw.
Salt and
Yeah.
straw. They would do it.
Oh, they would
do
definitely do it. They
tomato
make like
ice cream.
goat cheese and fig ice cream.
and straw.
Yeah, so they have monthly flavors
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
always like at Thanksgiving. It's always my favorite time because you can literally get stuffing flavored ice cream, which is disgusting, but you can taste it and go ew and talk to your friends about
By
it.
the way, something we'll probably touch on a little bit more tomorrow, but they've just announced that 20th Century Fox Studios action thriller Prey is now officially the #1 premiere on Hulu of all time, including all film and TV series debuts.
Woo!
So good for Prey.
Go pray.
Good for
And
Prey.
we're Thunder about to make that money.
We'll talk about that a little bit. Our friend Scott just sent that, so we'll talk a little bit about more about that tomorrow. By the way, let me interject here for a second, just because it hasn't been brought up yet in the live chat, and I really thought it would have by now. At the end of yesterday's show, we found out during the show that Olivia Newton-John had passed away. I made the conscious choice, because that was like over 24 hours ago. I made the conscious choice that we weren't going to make that a topic for today's show, because everybody has already talked ad nauseum about it. And I didn't want to come across perceiving that, oh, we're going to take advantage of Olivia Newton-John's death just to try to get some hits like a day after or whatever. So I decided not to make it a topic. But like we were talking before the show, I said, yeah, we didn't make it a main topic because I know someone's going to bring it up in the live part and we'll have a chance to chat about that then. But nobody's brought it up yet. So let me just take a second to mention just something quickly about the passing of Olivia Newton-John. I remember as a kid, now I was never the biggest Grease fan, but obviously Grease is an iconic movie, right?
It's the word.
Grease
Tell me
is the
about it,
word.
stud.
Along with the bird, by the way. And when I was a little kid growing up, it was more her music. I mean, to me, Let's Get Physical was the most risque thing, like,
Oh, it was
ever.
banned.
I mean, it was just whatever. And then she wasn't a one-hit wonder either. She went on to have an important career. She did a lot of like important humanitarian things after that as well. And so whenever an icon like that, like somebody in one of the most recognizable, films in the American film conclave, I mean, that's a notable thing. So yeah, the passing of Olivia Newton-John, your thoughts on that?
Yes, I mean, I actually wore pink to honor my fellow breast cancer warrior, Olivia Newton-John, who was diagnosed with breast cancer over 3 decades ago. And since then, in addition to being nominated for an Academy Award for the song that she sang, Hopelessly Devoted to You from Greece, but also being a dame in Australia, she also dedicated her life to cancer research. And if anybody out there is interested in helping to support her cause, the Olivia Newton-John Foundation, which you can find at onjfoundation.com, actually helps to support research on cancer as well as plant-based remedies for cancer treatments. She was really a woman ahead of her time. In addition to Physical, which she took her saccharine sweet girl next door image and then had a song that was so saucy and racy at the time that the lyrics were banned until she ended up going on and winning awards for it. It became an MTV, mega video. She also starred in Xanadu, which at the time became a big LGBTQ fan favorite. And so she sort of became an icon, in a group that at the time did not have a lot of people reaching out and being supportive. And she also has been a big champion of cannabis being used as for its medicinal purposes and has been trying to get it legalized in Australia. So she really has been an incredible woman who's done amazing things. That's onjfoundation.com.
All right. Let's now move on here. What's next?
Next comes to us from Deep Thoughts with the Deep. The youngest photo of you is also the oldest photo of you. Hashtag Deep Thoughts with the Deep.
That is all linguistically correct. That is absolutely true. All right, what's next?
Next to us comes to us from South Texas Shark, who says, damn, WB Discovery stock is taking a hit.
Yeah, I mean, every media company's stock is taking a hit, like Netflix, Disney, like they've all been taking hits, and Warner Brothers is no exception, of
No.
course.
That's what happens when you post a loss.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
This is from A. Marcellus, who says, things I look forward to on the John Campea Show, rants, and, oh, look, Ezra Miller went crazy again. Seriously, I think Ezra is Reverse Flash.
I again, I just don't understand. Like, whenever I hear stories about somebody who had $1 million or millions of dollars, and then 3 years later were destitute because they blew it all on alcohol or gambling or purchases they couldn't afford. Like, I just never understand. Like, when you get
Apparently, he doesn't
something,
spend any money on alcohol.
doesn't need to. Just going to the old neighbor's house. I mean, what?
Okay, thank you.
Like, what's going through your idiot mind? You've got the world on a string right now. You're a big movie star. You're in a couple of huge franchises. The world is yours. And to piss it all away is not just mind-numbingly stupid, but honestly is so fucking disrespectful to people, all the millions of people in the world who would kill to be in your situation. It's just fine. Anyway,
Can you imagine all the people who auditioned for the role of the Flash who like got up to like that final 5 and they're like,
Me?
I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. My worst thing is a speeding ticket. All right, what's next?
This comes to us from Mr. Ghost, who said, if Jim Carrey is not in Sonic 3 and never does another movie, his final words to the audience will be, later, hater.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, like Jim Carrey did say, now whether he sticks to this or not, we've heard other actors say and directors say, well, this is my final movie, and then of course they do more.
Cameron Diaz.
Jim Carrey says he's done. So, I mean, he's got a lot he loves in his life right now. So,
Jim Carrey said that he was done. However, it would have to be something really special. So I think that was his cue of, hey, if you have a movie that can win me an Oscar, I might come back, but I'm not
won't
coming.
Be Sonic 3.
But I'm not coming back for Sonic 3.
I love him in the Sonic movies, though. Love him. All right, what's next?
This is from Suthius, who says, finally watched Lightyear and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Top half of Pixar for me. It's a story we've seen before, but it had adventure, laughs, and emotions.
Yeah, listen, I liked Lightyear. Lightyear's a good little movie, but it doesn't live up to the first act. Like the first act is a movie like, I'm like, if the second and third acts are like this movie's going to get nominated for Best Picture, but it's not. It doesn't live up to the first 2 acts. But listen, at the end of the day, I still think a delightful little movie. I don't think one of Pixar's stronger movies, but I liked it.
Totally agree.
All right, what's next?
This is from Andy, who says, John's got the right idea. Replace Ezra Miller with KJ Appa from Riverdale. I want to see Barry Allen gain his super speed by reverse flash licking his abs. What?
Wow.
Yeah, so the kid in Riverdale, that kid's got quite the physique. He's got quite the physique. But yeah, I don't think that's a movie any of us want to see. All right, what's next?
This is from Ron H, who says, hey, crew, rest in peace, Olivia Newton-John.
I just needed to wait a little bit longer.
That's okay. Ron's got us. While I love Grease, I also loved her in one of my guilty pleasures, Xanadu.
Guilty pleasure? Xanadu rules. For you, Xanadu.
All right, what's next?
Ben Rayner says, was there a Supergirl movie announced? Everyone's saying it's canceled, but I don't remember when one was announced.
No,
Thanks for the show.
What's it called? The Mandela Effect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's never been a Supergirl movie announced.
Really?
There's never been a Supergirl movie announced.
Well, there was in 1984.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about they had
that's so
never
crazy.
announced a Supergirl
It was
movie.
Batgirl.
Yeah, there was Batgirl, and that they actually
Was she
shot
supposed
that
to
movie.
make a cameo in one of these movies at some point?
Supergirl's is
Yeah,
in the Flash.
Yeah, she's in
so
Flash.
that's probably why people are getting confused.
And hey, listen, I wouldn't doubt it at all that maybe there were plans, but there was never an announcement. So now they may have had internal plans, and now they've changed their plans. But I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, you're right. You can't cancel something that was never going to happen in the first place. But listen, and by the way, they may still do it. I mean, I haven't heard anything one way or the other officially that it ever was officially going to happen or that it's not going to happen. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Movie Fan 109 says, Ezra is killing my favorite comic book character.
I mean, listen, whatever Ezra Miller does off camera will do nothing to the character.
Right.
I mean, it'll hurt our enthusiasm. But here's the thing. Once you go into that theater and the lights go down and the picture comes up on screen, now it's The Flash. It's not Ezra Miller. Now it's Batman. It's not Michael Keaton. It's, and so we'll see. We will see what happens there, but he certainly ain't doing it any favors, and that's exactly what Warner Brothers and their lawyers are going to argue when they sue Ezra Miller, probably about a year from now.
And I'm wondering, actually, just to quickly touch on this, I'm wondering if that's why they didn't fire Ezra sooner, is that when Ezra was still technically on part of the company, they might have felt like they had some sort of legal recourse. They probably, they go through 1,000 lawyers to figure all that stuff out of the when and the why. But now that Ezra's no longer part of the Warner Brothers company, there's really they're kind of just checking off boxes of what Ezra is running around doing.
And but the other thing was, I have to go back and check the timeline on this. But by the time all this stuff started to come to the surface, the movie may have already been shot.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So, there's really, at that point, there's really not a lot of recourse left, even during the old regime. So, it's just such a complicated situation. All right, what's next?
This is from David Loisel, who says, sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Bonjour, les gars.
Bonjour, les gars. What is the, it's a French name, Loisel. Bonjour, les gars. What is the latest movie you saw that became your top 10 fave of all time? I recently saw Scarface, and now it's among my top 5.
Honestly, I think the most recent films that have cracked my top 10 is Lord of the Rings. I haven't had another film crack my top 10 since Lord of the Rings. Because Lord of the Rings was after Shawshank.
Yep.
2001,
2002, 2003.
I think Shawshank would probably be the next youngest on my list, but the Lord of the Rings films are probably the newest one on my list. What about you, Rob?
Almost Famous.
Oh, that's in your
The
top 10.
director's cut. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Aaron?
Honestly, I'm going to go real recent and say Top Gun Maverick. Like, that's a movie that I would not only watch multiple times, but I would want to share it with other people. Like, I can't wait until Tommy's old enough to where I can show him Top Gun Maverick, because I feel like it's a great film. It's got all the elements that I look for: action, love, suspense, humor,
Well,
music.
you have to show him Top Gun and then wait till he's 36 before you can show him Top Gun Maverick.
Well played.
All
well
right,
played.
what's next?
This is from Jay Master again, who
Master.
sends in a $10 super chat again. Thank you so much, Jay. Have you seen the new released set photos this morning of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin wearing a snazzy white suit and no Hawaiian shirt? Kingpin and no Hawaii.
And no Hawaiian shirt.
And no Hawaiian shirt. Thank you.
Comma.
Punctuation is good. Kingpin survived the bullet to the face at the end of Hawkeye.
Well, yeah, we all knew that because it was in the Echo show. So we know that. Actually, they're even saying they're going to give us that the Echo will give a flashback sequences for kind of the backstory of this Kingpin. And I'm just going to say this. When She-Hulk is done and when Echo is done, there will be no more debate anymore that these are not the same Kingpin and same Daredevil from the Netflix series. That's all I'm going to say right now, but it's going to become very clear at that point. All right, what's next?
This is from Attack of the Mushi again. Rob's fave Iron Man armor is Avengers 2's Mark 45.
Wow.
We both park our, I don't know what it means. I pre-ordered my first hot toy, Friendly Neighborhood Spidey. Protect me, Father.
That's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from No Way Home, and it looks.
Oh, I haven't seen a mock-up of it.
Oh yeah, they just dropped it. I think it was last week they dropped it.
So that means you'd actually get your hands on it when?
2 years from now.
See, I can't do
Wow.
that. You know what? That has probably been the one thing that has saved me from going broke on hot toys, is the fact that I'm too much of an instant gratification guy. I do
Yeah.
not buy something that I don't get for 2 years.
No.
So that's why I just never buy them.
But there's always a hot toy coming out from 2 years ago.
So
I mean,
it's a
dude,
constant rotation.
yeah,
It's like
it's-
an assembly line.
They announced Cable from Deadpool 2 like 3 years ago. We
still
still
not-
don't have it.
oh my God.
Don't have it.
Crazy.
See, I can't do that. I can't do it. All right, what's next?
This is from Mr. Holbrook, who says, how would Les Grossman handle the Ezra
A
situation?
lot of yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
A lot of yelling and screaming and threats. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually hired a hitman. I wouldn't be surprised
Or
by
a
that
big
at all.
a hitman babysitter.
Or a hitman babysitter.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
This is from Scotty Hale, who says, been watching The Sandman and love it. Never thought I would find an episode about hell easier to watch than an episode in a diner. Wow. Love it.
I'm only 2 episodes in. Ann and I watched the first 2 episodes of it last night. It's quite good. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but it's
No,
quite good so
he's
far.
talking about episodes 4 and 5.
All right.
You'll get there
Is that when Gwendolyn Christie shows up?
in 4. Yes.
All
Ooh,
right.
I love Gwendolyn Christie.
I'm looking forward to that. All right, what's next?
So, Ride Drive Lily, or Rividur Lily, says, John, do you fault Les Grossman for not reading the TiVo clause in the contract? Can't blame the pecker for being mad.
I don't understand the reference.
That's part of in the contract for the character.
Oh, was
He
the
gets
TiVo
TiVo he gets in
Oh
his,
my
yeah,
God.
in his
I
show.
totally forgot that line. I totally forgot that line.
Like, you know what? Do people even know what TiVo is or was?
I know, right? Do today
TiVo
people
is like
even
it
know what
came and it
TiVo
like
is?
changed everything.
It was
and then
the
it started-
greatest device ever.
Yeah, it
It
was
was.
at the time.
and it revolutionized the way that we watch television.
Yes, it
Yeah,
did.
it really did. All right, what's next?
Late Night Alum says, Sup Campea crew. This past weekend, Starship Troopers turned 25
Oh
and
my
Masters of the
God.
Universe turned 35. Favorite /least favorite moments from each of them?
I can't. I mean, I believe that Masters of the Universe 35. That's because that feels like I was a kid when that, but Starship Troopers, I still remember when I went to go see that in the movie theaters for the first time.
So good.
I still can't believe that thing. I mean, the worst, honestly, even at the time, I thought this is just too bad. When I can't remember the name of the actor, but they're caught by the bugs and they get him down on his knees, and the big brain bug makes its first appearance, and it sticks its thing in his head and sucks out his brain.
Oh, yeah.
Even then, I thought, like, that looks stupid, and this is stupid. Even though I was loving the movie, even at that point, so to me, that would be the worst. I don't know what I think my favorite moment might have been Michael Ironside halfway into a ditch going, Rico, you know what to do. And then like telling Rico to kill him on the spot. I think that might have been my favorite moment of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Dina Meyer's shower scene, but that would be, people would expect me to say that, so I won't. But I think one of the great scenes in any science fiction movie is the Alamo Fortress scene where it's
and all the bugs start coming out.
And because that film, even now, I recently rewatched it. It's coming out. They're putting out a 4K version of it. But those effects, that movie has some of the greatest use of miniatures and CG. And that when they all come and surround, it still holds up because they're insects.
Yep.
So they don't have to have like the skin of, say, a dinosaur. And those effects, man, the way
the time, they look so good.
So good. And
time,
I remember sitting there in the theater it was like, oh my God, they're never going to survive.
All right, what's next?
This is from Andy, who says, if Zaslav wants DC to succeed and for someone to effectively run DC Studios, then he's got to hire Les Grossman. Kevin Feige's got nothing on Les Grossman.
I mean,
but Alan Horn does. Alan Horn.
Yeah, Alan
That's
Horn.
the man.
Alan Horn's there. Alan Horn would bring in Les Grossman. Turn that
for
thing
sure.
around
He
right
would.
quick. All right, what's next?
This comes to us from Morgan Holmes, who sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Morgan.
So much, Morgan. Just release the Flash movie. This guy, him, her, they is a menace. Everybody says this being needs help. But how can you help if they can't help themselves? Oh, and Ezra, prison doesn't care about gender.
I'll just tell you, Morgan, that was an idiotic thing to say at the end there. That was just unnecessary. But there is a train of thought out there that says the initial idea of like, let's push out things to hopefully let things die down a bit before it comes out. There is, as Morgan points out, a train of thought that says with this person, with Ezra Miller, it ain't going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Announce that you're releasing it in October.
I agree. The
Just
sooner you get this film out.
And you know what? I think, Morgan, a few weeks ago, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, I wouldn't have agreed with that. But with more and more, like for instance, this stuff that's now coming out is the stuff that happened in May.
Yeah.
Right? What else has already happened that we don't even just know about, let alone what else can Ezra do between now and then? Because
that was before Ezra got fired.
Yeah, and remember, it still hasn't been made public that he's fired. No, like nobody's officially announced that.
Oh, really? I thought it was made public in June.
No.
Oh.
No, they haven't made that public. I mean, everybody knows Warner Brothers is parting ways with the butt.
Ooh, Ezra's stuff is like hot toys. You just find out like months and years later.
Yeah. Like they plant the seeds early.
I should bring my Ezra Miller hot toy.
I
and put it on my
think I
desk
have
here.
done a complete 360 on that train of thought now that I'm now starting to believe that, you know what? I think you're right. I think the best thing to do with this thing now is say, you know what? There's nothing much coming out in theaters in the next couple of months. You'll have it all to yourself. Just, you know what? This movie's pretty much done. Let's give us another 4 or 5 weeks to put some final cherries on it. And let's just drop this thing in theaters. I think you're right. I think that's the thing to do. I don't know, Rob. What do you think about that?
It's not a bad plan because it can't get any worse. I mean, it can only get worse. It can't get any better. And what are they going to do? Wait another year? Like you said, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, something really tragic might happen. I just hope that. I hope
like
that
right now, it's just stealing bottles of wine out of a house. Fine, drop that in theaters. But you're right; it could get worse.
I just hope that they get the help they need.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that for a long time.
Zaslav's becoming like the mayor in Jaws. He's like, you guys do what you need to, but this movie's coming out this weekend.
Yeah, his quote actually says, there is no winning in this for Warner Brothers. This is an inherited problem. That's a studio source. He says the hope is that the scandal will remain at a low level before the movie is released and hope for the best to turn out.
But you know what? Again, this is one of those things where as new information comes out, you change your mind. And I think you guys are right. I think you've changed my mind. I think that you just drop this thing. Put it out as soon as you can. Anyway, all right, what's next?
This is from Jumping Over Elephants Faces. Jumping Over Elephant Faces says Ezra is a Loki variant.
I've heard other people say that. You know what? It's not a bad analogy.
Possibly.
It's really not. All right, what's next?
From Dragonton says Zevia Krispy Kreme. Do you know what you need to do? You know what you need to do, you cheap sons of bitches.
That's right. Sponsor this show. Although, granted, Zevia's gotten a lot more love on this show than Krispy Kreme donuts. I'll give you that. But yep, to this day, I'm years into drinking Zevia and promoting it. But yep, still no sponsorship. Although once they did send me a crate. They did send me a crate of Zevia Cola one time, and I did appreciate that very much. All right, what's next?
Motoism says Tropic Thunder is my all-time favorite comedy.
It is an underappreciated treasure.
Oh.
And the cast is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, treat yourself. Go watch Tropic Thunder. All right, what's next?
Zach Marcello sends in a $20 super
Thank
chat.
you,
Thank
Zach.
you so much, Zach. Your second $20 super chat, and says, give me a Les Grossman spinoff. I want it so bad. I remember when Tropic Thunder was coming out when I was in college. When Tom Cruise showed up on the screen as Les Grossman, my jaw hit the floor and I couldn't stop laughing. That credit roll is classic.
Listen, everything from the way the movie opens with the fake trailers, just right there. Like I remember being in theater and watching just the movie opening with these 3 fake trailers and going, this is like one of the funniest things I've seen. Booty Sweat? Are you kidding me? Booty Sweat? And what was the name of the one that he does with Tobey Maguire?
I think it's Satan's Alley.
Satan's Alley.
It's Satan's Alley. Enigma's playing.
Their
hands touch.
Oh my God, that is such funny stuff. Anyway, yeah, watch, and I completely agree with you, man. I've been wanting this movie for 15 years. I've been wanting this movie for a long time, man. All right, what's next?
This is from Luis Enrique de Pena, who says, this is my cast for the Highlander. Henry Cavill as Connor McLeod, The Rock as the Kurgan, and Adrian Paul or Russell Crowe as Ramirez.
Ooh, Russell Crowe as Ramirez.
He'd be great.
He's got to lose some weight if he's going to be sword fighting.
Yeah, but he's been working out.
been working out.
He's been putting up some social media videos of him, whatever. That's actually not a bad. The Rock as Kurgan, no, because then if you are like what Rob was saying a little bit earlier, trying to take a little bit more of a serious tone,
yeah,
I think even before the movie comes out, just the perception of The Rock being the Kurgan, I think that would, you know, what you get to play the Kurgan, the dude who played the Mountain in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Jeez.
You get him to play Kurgan. I mean, that would be something. Like
The final guy, right?
Ready to burn out than to no. What does he say?
Yeah.
Rather burn out than
And
fade away.
Yeah.
When he goes up to the nun and going, blah, 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 blah,
Oh,
nun, I'm like, oh my God. It's like one of the grossest things I've ever seen. It was so funny. All
who,
right.
by the way, isn't the nun the woman who won the Golden Globe or the Emmy for Ted
Devil's
Lasso?
Alley? No.
Same actress?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. That was the nun.
The one who plays the owner of the team?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Chat, tell me I'm wrong.
If
Chat.
that's true, that's awesome. I got
James
look that
Argenta
up now.
says
That is
yes.
awesome if that's true. All right, what's next?
All right, next is Matt McClure says Ezra Miller is the Reverse Flash coming this summer to a prison near you. Hannah Waddington, thank you. Hannah Waddington, thank you, Joe Adonis. Yeah.
First of all, that was pretty funny. And oh my God, if that is actually true, then
It is true,
that's
John. I'm
awesome.
telling you.
That's
Hannah
awesome.
Waddington,
But what we're
yeah.
saying
That
is
makes me
if
appreciate
it's
it more.
true. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I know she is she not also the same woman who was in Game of Thrones and was the shame?
Yes, that's the nun.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, what's next?
This comes to us from Surgeon, who says, I know one person who's on the WB show.
And probably on Brad Pitt's too. I'm going to go on a limb there.
Just on
I
a
guess
limb.
that Ezra might be on Brad's shit list.
Yeah.
You're on the list. Okay.
As L7, by the way, Shitlist is an amazing L7 song, and it's also from the soundtrack of
Xanadu.
Woody Harrelson.
We're running out of time. We got to keep going.
Dashboard Killers, thank you. Matt Boyle says, hey, Aaron, we need your quick review of The Black Phone. Terrifying. Next up from Timothy Carter.
By the way,
says-
nothing was more entertaining. The only thing more entertaining than the movie itself was sitting beside Aaron trying to
She
watch
called
it.
one of the producers to complain about how terrifying
She really
it
did.
was.
After it was done, because we know one of the producers, she picks up the phone. She calls the producer to yell at the producer.
Yeah,
It was pretty funny.
I did. I was like, why didn't you warn me? I never heard from him again. I guess we're not friends anymore. From from Timothy Carter says, Les Grossman as head of DC.
Again, it turned that place around real quick. Real quick. All right, what's next?
From Dub McSee says, hey guys, more reports today with pictures of Black Panther 2 Legos showing Shuri in the suit. Safe move, but one day M'Baku will get his shot. Thoughts?
I have, my theory has shifted to, I believe there are going to be multiple people who don the Black Panther suit at one point or another. And I do not think the movie will end with her as Black Panther. I think again, this is all speculation on my part. I got no inside source telling me this. I think she probably feels like to honor her brother, she needs to pick it up or whatever. And I'm going to guess that doesn't go well. And I think somebody else will then take it up. Again, I'm still putting my pretend internet money on M'Baku being Black Panther by the end. That's my guess. All right, what's next?
This is from James LH, who says, hi crew for Rob. Give me ping Rob, one ping only.
Nice. He gets it.
Oh, the Hunt for Red October reference? Yep.
He notes the shirt.
God, that movie's so good.
It's so good.
It's still, I think, the best Jack Ryan anything.
Oh, it's so
like
good.
Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, the Amazon series of John Krasinski, all great stuff. But that's still, that first original movie is still the best.
And the
Absolutely
best
agree.
snuff of Adrian Brody.
Was he in that movie?
He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be one of the stars, and then he went to the premiere, and he's sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, this is my scene. It's go."
No. That was. You're talking about a Thin Red Line.
God damn it! I was so close.
But you are.
Damn it.
But you are correct about that.
Yeah, he went to the premiere of Thin Red Line and looked up, and no one told him, "Hey, by the way, your role's been cut out of this movie," and he was one of the stars.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Maybe they can do that with The Flash.
You know, movies that have red the title. It's fine.
It's all
There's a
the
lot
same.
of people in Thin
Yeah.
Red
I'm telling you, by the
Movies I
time this
never
movie-
saw.
By the time this movie comes out, it's gonna be called Batman Flashpoint.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Not a bad
Just saying.
idea.
All right, what's next?
This is from Lucky BX, who recently saw the old Emmys spoof of The Office. Creed buying drugs from Jesse of Breaking Bad is hilarious.
Okay,
oh,
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's
It
the
is-
Emmy Open, right?
Yeah, it was like one of the Emmy
Well, like
opening
the cold
thing
open?
Yep.
of the Emmys. Yeah, just Google or YouTube Emmys spoof The Office. It is genius.
I've never seen, and it's Creed.
Oh, they're all in it.
Who's the? Oh, they're all in it because Creed is like the most underserved character of all of The Office. Like Creed would all have like one line an episode.
But that's what made it great.
That's what made it so
if they
great.
tried to do more Creed, I think it would be Creed overkill. I love the fact that he would just slide in and he'd be like, does anybody want some weed? Or he, like with the episode where he showed up with jet black hair.
Oh yeah.
All because they thought they were getting younger.
Right.
And my favorite, you'd have to see it in context. For those of you who've seen the episode, you know, my favorite Creed line of all time is, "Who's your worm guy?" That no Creed line ever made me nearly die from laughter as much as that line. "Who's your worm guy?" I just about died. All right, what's next?
From Kay the Specialist says, weeks ago, Chris said they should drop Cyclops and bring new X-Men, but we need him, a true leader, a Cap Sash Icarus mix burdened with the weight of mutants.
I 100% agree with you. I as much as I love X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, whatever, but as much as I love those X-Men movies, the one thing they totally botched in those films, and I love those. X-Men 2 is one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. The one thing they botched was Cyclops.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you, speaking of Sonic, you've got why am I freezing on the actor's name?
James Marsden.
James Marsden. Especially when you got James Marsden who's doing the best he can. Cyclops. I just don't think you have X-Men without Cyclops. Like Cyclops, you're right. He's the guy. He's the one who holds it all together. So I am in 100% agreement with you. All right, guys. With that all down, that'll do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to come back and join us again tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show. Make sure you like, subscribe to this channel. We've gone over 300,000, but we've added like over 3,000 more subscribers since we did that. So thank you guys. Keep
Heyo.
subscribing, stick the thumbs up and all that kind of stuff. And we will be back again tomorrow. So for everybody in the room right now, Robert Meyer Burnett, of course, Aaron Cummings and the wonderful Joey Bishop, Ray Ora, and of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico. My name's John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.